Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the partner conference, the first partner conference of the year. Is it too late for me to still say Happy New Year to everyone who I've not seen so far? I'm going to say it's not, because this weekend is Chinese New Year as well. So I'm going to keep going with my Happy New Year to everyone. It's great to see you all joining us for the partner conference today. My name is Michelle Clark, for those of you who haven't met me before. And I am going to be your host today for the partner conference. This is going to be a super awesome session. This is how to build $1 million education business in 2023, how you can co-create, how you can collaborate, how you can build your business with the right partners, and hopefully with us here in GeniusU as well in 2023. So this is me. As I said, Michelle Clark. I'm the partnerships manager for GeniusU, and I'm also one of the directors of Genius Group. And I'm very excited to be hosting this conference today. We're going to have a super awesome time. We've got Roger Hamilton, who's going to be joining us today live from Poland. We're going to get some really awesome content on how to build both of your businesses, whether you are somebody who is out there building a community-based business, building your own network, or whether you're someone who is an educator out there building your business, your education business as well online. We've got a lot of content that we're going to be sharing over these next couple of hours. Before we get started, I do want to draw your attention to the fact that we've got a little competition. We do like a little competition. We're going to be drawing this competition live today. So we'll let you know at the end of the conference who's going to win this. Somebody who is joining us today, whether you're here on Zoom or whether you're here joining us live on Roger's YouTube channel, you're going to get the chance to win a fully funded Flow Consultant certification. This is one of our partnership programs. We love this. This is where you get to use wealth dynamics and talent dynamics with your clients, with your team, in your business. It's a super awesome program, and it's a great certification valued at over $1,500. And all you need to do to be in with a chance of winning is get yourself over here onto our Entrepreneur Campus. The team are going to drop the link in here. So if you haven't joined already, you can join the Entrepreneur Campus. You'll see that there's a pin post here from Stacy welcoming everyone to the partner conference. You just need to go in right now and say hi, introduce yourself, let us know where you're dialing in from. So I'm going to put here, hi, Michelle, if I can spell my name right here, from Preston, UK, partnerships manager for GeniusU and host today. So you can go in there, you can go in, introduce yourself, let us know where you're dialing in from, and you can use that today for the chat. So we're looking for the chat, we're looking for comments, we're looking for questions in there as well, and we'll be picking somebody who has put something either insightful or a great question to be winning our Flow Consultant prize as well. So do get in there. We'll keep checking in on the comments, we'll keep checking in on the questions as well. So what are we going to cover today? Well, you're going to find out how you can be part of the education revolution. There is a revolution already taking place. We are leading the education revolution, and you can change the face of education. We all know that the current education system is not working. It's not fit for purpose. And we're going to be sharing today how you can be a part of that education revolution. And in that mix, how you can actually build $1 million education or community business. And we've got some super cool partners coming to share who've done exactly that in the last year as well. So, I can see people already dropping into the Zoom chat and telling me where they're dialing in from as well. That's awesome. Don't forget to be chatting with me in GeniusU as well, because if you're in GeniusU, I'm going to make sure that you're in with a chance to win the prize. But I can see lots of people dialing in and joining us as we're going live as well. And I can see we have Roger, who is over in Poland as well. Good morning to you, Roger. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm doing very well, Michelle. Good to see you all here on the call today.
This is so cool. So for those of you who might be the first time you're getting to see Roger, maybe you've been following him recently on his Twitter, there's been lots of exciting things happening on his Twitter, which I hope he's going to talk about today. Roger is a world-renowned futurist and a social entrepreneur. He is the founder and chairman of Genius Group, which is a group of companies, of education companies, helping education from basically 0 to 100 years old. So we have primary schools, secondary schools, university, adult education, right through to mentors who can be giving back their time and supporting others as well. So, and Roger was the person who created wealth dynamics and talent dynamics, which has been used by hundreds of thousands of people. And today, right now, we've got about 4 million students who are working with us and learning from us on a daily basis, which you're going to hear Roger sharing how that's going to be growing to over 6 million this year as well. So Roger, I'm super excited. I know you are going to be kicking off the session today and explaining what is the education revolution, how people can get involved in that, and what we are doing to lead that as well. So Roger, I'm going to pass it over to you, and I'm going to turn my volume off just now. Over to you.
Thank you, Michelle. Guys, as with all revolutions, it always starts with movement, right? And we are about to make a physical movement from Zoom, which has been the old world way of doing things, to YouTube, which is where we are now going to be live streaming everything we're doing. And there are two big reasons that I'm going to be asking you to do something in a moment. The first is because I'm going to be sharing certain things which are about our future, like Genius Group, the entire education revolution in 2023. And as a public company, I'm not allowed to share this to one group of shareholders, and all of our partners are also shareholders within Genius Group as well, which means they're going to do it publicly. So for that reason alone, we're going to be actually doing all of our chats and all of our conversation on YouTube. The second thing is that there is such a huge following of people that are interested in actually making a difference in the world today. They're against the centralization of what's happening within education, but equally, there's more and more people now that we're a public company, which are also against the centralization of the banking and finance system, which is under, basically right now that we're under attack with what's happening with the naked short selling, with the Wall Street sharks. And so what I'm going to do is make sure that we're building this movement for both sides, and we're going to do it on my channel. So you will see, I'm going to drop right now in the chat, and the team can help me with this as well, because we're not going to be using the chat here at all, which we normally would do on Zoom. Third thing is that when you use Zoom, once you finish the Zoom, chat's gone. Whereas with a YouTube Live, the moment that it's all over, the recording is there straight away. Here I am on YouTube. We're YouTube Live right now. You can see there's already 40 people in here watching, but very few people know we're even doing the live stream right now. The link I just shared you, which is this link up here, is going to take you right here. What that means is you can actually log off from Zoom altogether, and you can be watching us on here and chatting on here as well. You've seen I've already said hi, everyone from Poland. I'd love you to all basically jump onto this instead and actually post in here hi and where you are in the world as well. And because some of us are veterans, we've been here within Genius Group for 10, even 20 years, whereas others are here brand new. You can see Michelle's already posting from Preston in the UK. We want to see just how international we are today with everyone. Unfortunately, we're also running this right now from a time zone which is happy for people in Europe and is happy for people in Asia, but it's really not great for people in America. Everyone's asleep right now, right? So when they wake up in the morning, they're going to be seeing the recording of this as well. So super, super important for us to be, giving everyone a chance to be able to see what we're up to, what we're doing. And I'm going to be jumping in a moment into the share as well. But I'm going to give everyone a chance to do that. I'm going to stop my share for a moment because I want to just see how many people are still hanging out in our chat here. And I can see we've still got over 100 people still in the Zoom chat. So, so I'm still asking those 100 people to also please move across to the live. That would be way, way, way better. And do not be continuing to post, which I can see everyone's still continuing to post in the Zoom. The reason someone just posted, I'm hearing double Roger, it's because you still got your Zoom open. Close your Zoom, right? And then you're just going to be watching us on the live stream, right? So that is what we're going to be doing. We're also going to be having interaction with everyone on the live stream all the way through this session as well. We're here for 3 hours, and we're going to break it into 3 sections. Section number 1 in the first hour is where we're going to be going through the whole premise of the education revolution, why we're doing what we're doing, why we're under attack actually as well. And then from there, we're going to be bringing on some of our top executives. We have Saranjit Sangar, who was the European CEO for Upgrad, which is an equivalent of a Coursera, coming and joining us and building out GeniusU. We have Rav Kabal, who is our head of our revenues. He's our chief revenue officer and working with all of the different companies within our group right now, and also with the partners. They're going to be showing just how much we're going to be seeing a change this year as we're going from 4 to 6 million students. We also are going to, in the second of our sections, which is another hour, going to be talking specifically about community partners, all our country partners, all our city partners, all our leaders, and how they actually end up making multi-million-dollar businesses in education at the same time as impacting millions of people. And we're going to actually be bringing on some great partners that are doing some incredible work right now. We have our head of Japan, we have our head of China that's going to be coming and sharing basically how they're building their businesses into multi-million-dollar businesses and making an impact in education. And then we're going to have our third hour where we are going to be talking about the faculty, which is like, if you've got content, if you've got things that you believe should be getting out to people, then this is the way to do it. Now, one thing I want to say as well, we also have recognition. We have got an awards that we're going to be doing. And so that's going to give us an opportunity to award our partners that are just doing incredible work. And we have a leaderboard because what we're doing this year is playing what we call the World Game. And I'm going to be sharing a bit more about what that is, why we're doing it as we go through this session as well. So let me just come back for a moment to our chat on YouTube, right? And basically just see how it's now moving along. So big welcome to everyone here. Oh my gosh, we've got Christian here from Turkey. Good to have you here. We've got Catherine here from London. We have got, wow, we got Marlboro guy from Las Vegas. This is like in the middle of the night. So congrats for being up right now. We've got Lenny from South Africa who is here. We've got Jesse from Brisbane, Australia. We've got Devi from Malaysia. We've got people from all different countries right now, even Rastika from New Zealand. And so it goes on. So really, really great to see all around the world. Oh, wow. We've got Coach Chris from Marbella, Spain. I'm sure the weather there is very nice right now. We got Darachos in Ireland. Maybe weather's not so nice there. We have got, as you know, over 200 countries now. Someone said, how can you have 200 countries when there's only 195 countries in the United Nations? Well, some people think there's countries when other people don't. Taiwan's a good example of that. Google counts 230 countries, right? So we're actually in 200 out of 230 regions that Google tracks. And in every single one of them, we have students. And we have now partners coming into all of these different places as well. So let me just pause for a moment. And let's just take ourselves back to why we started Genius Group. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you a number of different things that I've been sharing over the last 10 years and how they're all now coming together to what we're doing right now in 2023. And that's going to kind of lead us into why we're calling this year the Education Revolution. I want to start with two premises, right? And when I go through each of these premises, if you agree with this premise, I want you to just type a big yes in the comments, right? Premise number one. Premise number one is that we currently have got an education system where every level of learner, whether you are a student at high school, whether you are a student at university, whether you are a lifelong learner where you basically just quit your job or you're trying to figure out how to build your business, that the current education system, the certified one, the one that the US government, the UK government says, this is what we are going to give you a degree for, this is what we're going to give you a high school diploma for, is out of date. It just does not serve purpose, as Michelle said. And so all of us are out hunting for where we can be learning from someone on YouTube, from someone through some book that we're reading, because we know we're not actually getting it from the traditional system. Now, if you believe that and you go, that's true, whether it's my kid, whether it's myself, that I'd much rather this way I can get certified into all the right programs, even have the government fund it, but actually make it something that allows me to go out, create a job, start a business, become financially literate, understand investing. If you think, yeah, of course, that's what we should have, right? Then post a big yes, because that's the first thing that I really believe is what we are addressing. And we're doing it by decentralizing a centralized system. As long as something's centralized, it means there's a middleman who's making decisions that aren't the right decisions. As long as something's centralized, it means everyone's following rules from the past instead of actually making up rules as they go for the future, right? And so as a result, it's always outdated. It's always going to be having bottlenecks, and it's always going to be in a position where none of us have the ability to make the changes we want to make to it. When every student already is choosing where they're getting educated, and most of it isn't in the traditional education system, right? So that is number one. How are we solving that? There is a second premise, and if you put these two together, you create magic. And the second premise is that the best educators in the world tend to be underpaid, right? Like if you're a really great educator, you're a professor at university, or you're a high school teacher, and you're only able to get to 40 people in a classroom, then it means that you're not actually able to get to all the right people. You're watching YouTubers who are making millions, and they've got a following of millions because they've got a leverage model in YouTube that allows them to do that. But their stuff isn't certified. Their stuff isn't necessarily as good as yours, but they're the people that actually have understood how to leverage their message. They've got a global classroom. And so the second premise is that we should be giving all the best educators in the world and all of those that actually believe in this mission a way to not only go out and build a global classroom that can actually reach millions, but be rewarded for it, to actually be able to make millions as well. Why not make education one of the highest paid professions and one of the noblest professions, rather than make it what it currently is? This is one of the lowest paid professions, which is why a lot of smart people don't go out and become a teacher, unless it happens to be a New York Times bestselling author, unless it happens to be a YouTuber or someone kind of like sharing info on TikTok, right? But what if we actually were to bring all these tools to all the best educators so they also could get that information out and not just for their benefit, but for the benefit of all the students as well. So if you believe in that premise, then also type a big yes, right? And I'm seeing a lot of yeses in here. This is what Genius Group is all about, right? The idea that we can bring these together. And what we're doing at this conference here is we're sharing to you, the partners, what it is that you can do to be part of this global game, how we do this together. You might be listening here for the first time. You might be someone who's been our partner for many, many years already. You might be a student who is actually thinking, maybe I should be an educator myself. Maybe I should be taking on a country and actually growing what I'm doing as well. And if you're thinking in that way, you've come to the right place, because over these 3 hours, we're not just going to share what the process is and how we've figured this out, but we're also going to be sharing with you what you can be doing as the next step at any level that works well for you. As you all know, 98% of all of our students, they get all the education for free, right? Like, we're not actually charging anything for them, but for the 2% that actually do decide that they're going to pay and actually get an acceleration of where they're going, they're the ones that actually end up generating what we're going to be seeing. Like you saw last year, our guidance last year was what, somewhere in the region of like, $30-35 million. That's a lot of revenues going through for people that really care about their own education and their growth. And as you know, we've been growing 50% year after year. And we just had a board meeting yesterday. We just approved our budget for this year. We haven't yet come out with the guidance. Again, one of my challenges as a CEO now of a public company, I want to tell you all the things that we're going to be doing this year, numbers wise. Can't do it until our guidance comes out. It's going to be coming out very shortly. So watch the press releases. But that whole idea of growing 50% by 50%, just take that by theory, extrapolate it out, going 4 million to 6 million. If you continue that every single year, by 2030, we actually reach 100 million students. So if you just start thinking, well, if we're all part of making that 50% growth year on year, then we can make a huge impact. I was inspired by Salman Khan, who did exactly that, where he actually made that kind of a growth for Khan Academy, and he hit 100 million within 10 years. We are on track on a very, very similar model, but now not just for mathematics or for high school, but for all ages across all subjects. So with that, let me share 3 simple things that some of you have seen before to give you a background of this. And then after that, I'm going to be sharing what our invitation is to you today and what we mean by the Genius Formula, what we mean by the $1 Million Genius Formula, and how you can apply this within your business, regardless of whether you even come and become one of our partners or just remain as a student in our campuses going forward as well, right? So let's jump right into this. By the way, if you're excited for this journey, please do post a big yes or a big hell yes. And I am looking forward to seeing a lot of you becoming continually active within where we're at right now. Okay, so we've now got several hundred people now on the live stream as well, which is awesome. And I know many more people will be watching the ongoing recordings that we have after this as well, which is great. Let me share with you 3 things that are going to kind of like bring the pieces together that I think for us is the most important thing in this conference. The first thing I'm going to share is that for anyone here who is asking, how do you even build a new curriculum, right? The last time that someone built a new curriculum was all the way back in 1968, that was 50 years ago, which was the International Baccalaureate System, which is a whole new high school system for international students, where they said there must be a way for us to be able to improve on the system. But after that, there's been no new global system that's been created that we can all be using. So many of you know that for 20 years, in fact, like this last year was the 20th anniversary, that we've been building out a profiling system called Wealth Dynamics, which allows everyone to see what is your entrepreneurial path. Are you a Richard Branson? Are you a Warren Buffett? Are you a Mark Zuckerberg in terms of, are you more introvert, extrovert? Are you more intuitive or sensory? And the pathways that you can follow to actually build your trust. We went through how we are now living in a world which is facing a trust crisis. We can see this happening. And it is actually the business leaders that are the ones that people tend to trust more than even politicians today. And so in this pathway here, we built a full curriculum, which went from the idea that each of us have a natural path. And if we can actually understand our passions, our purpose, our talents, we can build a team. We can do what we're best at instead of focusing at what we're worst at, which is what happens with standardized testing. And we can actually have a pathway, which many entrepreneurs now around the world are using to be able to build their business, to be able to build their impact. And this pathway here is called Entrepreneur Dynamics. So if you're not familiar with this, if you're brand new to this, do find out about it, do learn about it. It's all part of the operating system that we run within our curriculum, which allows everyone from a young student all the way through to someone who's a seasoned investor to understand that at every level of life, there is a particular complexity in your business. There's particular complexity in your consciousness level in how you're thinking about managing teams or managing money. And if you understand each of these steps one by one, We can learn why most people are down at the victim or survivor level, where they aren't even financially free or financially literate. But if you start building out your personal literacy, it then allows you to build a business or build a team, which allows you to go out there and make an impact in the world. And so this first slide deck here is just knowing that if you're not familiar with all of this, don't take our word for it. Go and take one of our free masterclasses and learn all about exactly what are the mechanics by which all the money in the financial markets and all the money within entrepreneurship actually grow. And don't be a victim to the system where you're simply working for someone because you don't know what these steps are. Work for someone if you choose to work for that person. Don't work just because you need the money. There's always a smarter way to do it. And at the end of the day, all the people that have the money tend to say it's not about the money because they have a smarter way of actually making an impact in the world. And as Jeff Bezos says, you're either a mercenary or a missionary. Mercenaries are doing it just for the money. Missionaries are doing it for the mission. I only ever invest in missionaries because they not only are the ones that are more fun and interesting to work with, but they tend to also be the ones who make all the money. So this, first of all, is one thing I wanted to share is that the Wealth Dynamics 5.0 is one area where we launched it, which has some incredible impacts. We've obviously had millions of people around the world that have been using this, and that's led to the Entrepreneur Dynamic System. I wanted to add a second piece to that, which is that we also shared that there is an actual how-to of building trust from someone who doesn't know you all the way through to someone who does, right? The worst way to get a job is to go and apply to a job ad because you're now one of thousands of people trying to chase for that job. The worst way to try and get a customer is being one of thousands of companies trying to chase for that customer. But the moment you actually realize, wait, I shouldn't be chasing anything, I should be attracting. And so what are the ways that I can do that? We're walking through here the way that we're going through exponential growth and the pathway, whether you happen to be a digital company, whether you happen to be a teacher, whether you happen to be someone who is currently got a retail store, whether you're someone trying to figure out how to get a job, that in every one of these cases, when you understand your ikigai, which is the center of who you are, and you're able to then build that out into the different passions, the different purposes that are available, and also the different talents that you have, this then builds out into a pathway which allows you to go through a value cycle, which has got 5 steps, which goes from people who don't know you to grabbing their attention, earning their attention, then earning their time, then earning a decision, and eventually earning their money, right? But doing it only after you have someone who wants to buy from you, so you're never having to sell anything, right? And what's really important here is this is all community-based. It's where word of mouth lives, and it's how the most successful people in the world today are able to attract all the right people that want to learn from them by delivering value and doing it at scale, and knowing that at every one of these different steps, depending on which level you're at of impact, there is a different scale that you need to follow it through as well. Why is this important? Because the Genius formula that we're going to share uses this as a base. So if we know what level your business is at, are you in a job or are you looking for a job? Have you got a startup? Are you already at the multi-million-dollar level? Do you have multiple businesses? At every one of these levels, we can show you examples of other people within our community that have stepped from one level to the next and how they had to change focus because their winning formula became a losing formula at the next level up as well. So layer over this one here, which is who you are, with this one here, which is where are you, right? And then once you know who you are and where you are, you can then say, what now, where do I want to go? And that leads me to the third of the slides I want to share, which is our last earnings report, which had hidden within it, not just what we're doing financially, but also what we were doing to grow this whole movement by building in place partnerships, by building our metaversity, where we then have got a digital layer across everything we do globally. So you can actually treat the world as your classroom and connect with the best mentors, connect with the best communities anywhere in the world that you go, connect with the best influencers around the world who already are attracting millions of people, but now bring their content into our accredited curriculum. Now that we actually own our own university, we can actually issue our own US degrees and MBA programs that allows us now to actually have US government funding to support all of this education curriculum that we're talking about. And we're the first edtech company in the world that's building our own educational system, US government funded. Pretty much all the other ones have to go partner with universities or partner with schools in order to bring content on board. And in our case, we basically are the content, right? So we are now, as we're growing through, as we heard, up to now closer to 4.5 million students using the tools that we shared here. We are now already being recognized out in Asia as a company which is a company to be reckoned with. And it's really in America that we're actually seeing the biggest challenges, simply because we're a public company and we're being attacked by Wall Street. And I'm going to share with you like the latest on that as well. So with that in mind, take those 3 things in place. I've just given you a 10-year history. We've accelerated you up to catch up with where we're at right now. And then let's just go through what that now means in terms of your next hour, 2.5 hours with us, and what I'm going to now be sharing in terms of the invitation that we have for you and the plan that we have for you as a partner of ours, whether you're a community partner or whether you are a faculty partner. So let me just share, first of all, a slide deck here. This here is the slide deck that I call the Education Revolution. In this slide deck here, I'm actually going to make it a little bit bigger so you can actually see the whole thing here as well. And I'm going to take you through, first of all, the invitation, right? So last year in April, so it's not even a year ago, it was like, 8 months ago, we had our IPO on the New York Stock Exchange. The reason we did that, because we've been funded internally all the way through from partners, from students since we started, was because we have a philosophy that every student and every teacher should have a say and an ownership in the future of education, right? You might go to Harvard or Cambridge and think you've got a good degree, but think more people should go there. You have no say over that. You might have gone to school and thought you did well in some subjects. You didn't like the ways other subjects were taught. You have no say in that, in any of that. But if you basically have got an ownership in the actual entity that is the entity that's going to be the future of education, then you should have a say and you should have a chance to be an owner in that as well, and then be part of that success as well. So this is part of our decentralized view. Even though we appear as a centralized company, I'm not the owner of this company. It's owned by the students, and I happen to be one of those students. It's owned by the partners. I happen to be one of those partners as well. We are now at a point where in 2023, we are growing from 4 million to 6 million students. As I said, we've been growing 50% year after year. And the way we measure our success is how much of the money that's being generated by our student fees is going to our partners, right? This is actually the opposite of how most universities and schools work, where they're trying to minimize their faculty costs. Whereas in our chance, we're like, no, we want to maximize it. The more money we can actually put in the hands of our faculty, the more we're going to be able to grow. YouTube does a similar thing. They say, how much can we actually pay our creators? Let's maximize that. We're going to be able to grow. Elon Musk is trying to do the same with Twitter, where he's like, we're not really even paying all the influencers and all the people bringing content to Twitter. Let's figure out how much we can pay them. And his goal is to pay them more than YouTube. So our goal also is to say, if we can get influencers who've got amazing content to put their courses into our accredited curriculum, and they actually get paid more than they would if they were putting on YouTube, then we win, right? And we get all the best people coming our way, and we're rewarding the efforts of those educators as well. So what we're doing now is we're launching our community and faculty partnerships in specific areas where we show this is happening now at scale. And we're going to show examples today of people already at the multi-million-dollar level that already are doing this. This year, we grow a global curriculum of 3 campuses. So this is our entrepreneur campus, our investor campus, and our university campus. We do have a 4th one, which is a school campus, but we're really focusing at the adult learning over 2023 and then scaling out into the school campus in 24 and 25. As we said, our whole focus here is making sure we have profitable partners, but also making sure we have impact investors. And the reason for that is because this is something I was not expecting. Well, after we listed at $6 and then we saw analysts coming out with price targets for us at anything from $11 to $19, we saw our share price just plummet, and we had no idea why. And then we started saying, wait, there's a system at how they're doing this. We're being manipulated. And we then hired lawyers. And in December, we basically got the evidence that we actually are being manipulated. And I want to share with you 2 things that we decided to do massively different, which you would have seen already from the beginning of January. The first one, we're taking a lot of actions. You're going to see today, maybe even while we're on this call, or perhaps just after it, there's going to be a press release of all the actions that we are now taking. So I can't share them right now. I'd love to, but this is going to come out today. The actions we're taking against them. But we also said, look, we're being hampered that I can't be sharing what's been going on with everyone because it's always going to just some small group of our shareholders. And that's against SEC rules. So we said, okay, so all my communication now as we go forward is to be basically in just 3 places. The first place where I'm always going to be communicating first is going to be on Twitter. So you can see here on Twitter, if I just posted about the partner conference, right now I'm at about 920,000 followers. This number has grown by 10,000 in the last week. And I believe it's going to continue to grow by people out there that also deciding to fight against Wall Street, and the fact that Wall Street has this ability to be able to issue fake shares in our company in a way that if we were to do that, we would end up in jail, but somehow they're allowed to do that. They can sell those shares and then we end up with more shares in the market than we should have. And there are things we can do to get rid of those counterfeit shares, which is the actions we're going to take. But
Hey, Roger, we're just losing your sound a little bit.
We're going to see a video tomorrow from John. He went from a situation. Yes.
Yeah, we're just losing your sound a little bit. I think you're just dropping in and out a little bit there. But you're back again.
Okay. Am I back? Can you hear me?
You are back. Yes, got you.
Okay. All right. Okay. Keep reminding me if it goes off a bit, but hopefully this is going to work. This tends to happen every time I say anything about corruption within government departments or within regulatory bodies. My sound on my computer disappears. So go figure that one out. That was a joke, by the way. So let's come back and basically say that, like, I'm going to give you an example of John Berta. In the video I'm going to share tomorrow, you're going to see that John was in exactly the same situation as us, where he was at around 30 cents a share. He had a convertible debt. He was like stuck, not being able to do anything. And he decided to take some of the same actions that we now have been talking about, where he went within 6 months from 30 cents all the way up to $11. And he was able to actually raise hundreds of millions of dollars as a result of putting in place step-by-step the right steps. Great thing about someone like John is he's not just a CEO. His company was Torchlight. It's now become Meta. He's not just a great CEO, but he also had a background in finance, right, within Wall Street. So he understood what they were doing and he was able to counter it. Another person who just set up CEO Block, which is basically a coalition of CEOs that I'm now a part of. CEO Block basically is CEOs fighting against naked shorting, which is where they're pretty much creating fake shares in your company. And I'm also doing an interview with him today, actually, where he's sharing how he's actually moving his company to a blockchain-based exchange. Super interesting, the things that he's doing as well. Again, another guy who understands the finance industry, as well as being a CEO as well. And so what is so exciting about this is that we're making moves very, very quickly. And if you're not yet following me on Twitter, please do, because then you can follow up everything here. You're not going to see me post much on Facebook because the only people that see Facebook are people following me or that are part of me, whereas Twitter, everyone can search for it, everyone can find it. So SEC basically is recognizing it as basically as much as a press release, right? So this is one area. The second area, and the team can drop my Twitter link into the YouTube. Second area, obviously, is YouTube, which is where now we're obviously doing this live stream. And where, again, I'm going to be posting all of the updates. Wes Christian, who is the veteran at actually fighting Wall Street and these guys that are actually printing out shares in our name. And if you're actually wondering, like, you know, how does this actually work? Like, why are they doing this? Well, if you're basically sitting at a Wall Street desk and you know that, you know, Genius is, you know, trading right now when people are buying into it, and I can just sell you a share that I don't own. It's like, I'll just sell you my shares. I'm making 100% profit, right? Because there's no cost to that. And I may not even have to ever cover that share, which means I just keep on printing shares into the market. And there's loopholes, which means that the regulators aren't even catching this, that people can do this. And it's something that's already been exposed by retail traders and things like GameStop and AMC, where they're saying this must be happening because there's way too many shares traded that don't exist and we're not selling ours. So who's selling? And now we've actually got the forensics where someone like Wes Christian can actually show that we can track this, right? And so that's why we're doing it. He's got legal action that he can take against it. So I'm actually sharing this as we go. And if you're curious at all about whether or not you should be a listed company, what the pitfalls are, how you actually manage against it, you know, we're going to come to a point, I believe, where we're actually going to have, in the same way we have a guide for partners, we're going to have a guide for how you can actually be a public company and defend yourself from the sharks, right? I mean, if you're going to jump in the ocean, expect there to be sharks there, but at least you got to know, you're going to be thinking differently from if you're basically just getting into your own swimming pool, right? There's different dangers, there's different ways to think about it. And we're on this fight, right? Because at the end of the day, we expect if we want to face the establishment, we're going to be attacked. And so we got to be ready for that fight as well, but we're in this, fighting this together. There's a third area where I am sharing, which is on GeniusU itself, because our GeniusU blogs, when you actually log in, if you're not joined yet, go join the right campus. As you heard, we have the educated campus here. And then I can go straight to my profile and you will see in my profile that I'm basically posting inside my profile, the blog every single week. It's on a Friday where I basically share the very latest that we can share publicly on what's going on in the company, what's going on within our fight. And you see here that we actually have these blogs one by one, where you can then go read all about it and it gives you all the information. And we're sharing these blogs out on a week-by-week basis as well. So all the news, all the information, everything there is there for all of us to be able to share as we go forward. I am doubling down on my communication to make sure everyone out there is aware of what we're up to and what we're doing as well. So from there, we then get on to, all right, well, if we're going to do that, how do we make it happen? Well, we are bringing on board a superstar faculty. These are all of the people who already have got either a million plus on YouTube that people are following, or influencers because they're New York Times bestselling authors, and we bring them into our accredited degree and MBA programs. This year, we're going to have a concentration on investing and one also in entrepreneurship. that you can actually do. And anything you do with us, if they're the right programs, the right masterclass, right workshops, you're getting credits towards it. So if you're a partner, you want to bring your content onto our platform, we say, hey, your content's great. It's exactly what people want to learn. We can put credits against yours, GEM credits, which means GEMs are our Genius educator merits. They're basically the merits that are effectively like, it's not student debt, it's student credit. You're actually like being rewarded as you go with these credits. You can then use them to basically redeem against more programs or against other products. And so as effectively you're earning as you're learning. And so it's a very different mindset from the current system where you're actually spending as you're learning, and then you're ending up with a big debt at the end of it. We're just reversing the whole thing. We're also basically partnering with the top companies that are progressing AI, that are progressing VR, that are progressing all the latest technologies, where they themselves are desperate to find the right students or the right individuals that have the skill sets to come on board. You know, Google's got their own, you know, Google Campus, Google Academy that you can go learn from. All these companies you're seeing here, NVIDIA, YouTube, they've all got their own academies, their own programs, and we can be giving credits also to these so that you can actually be learning all these different elements. Can you imagine how many people there'll be on TikTok, on YouTube, when they realize that their top influencers, they can actually be building into their high school diploma or their degree programs, and they can be learning the way they want to learn. They don't even have to go to an actual class if they don't want to. They could actually just do it all via their platform, right, and via GeniusU, or they can actually join their local community and actually learn with others as well. So there's true flexibility, and it's global. You don't have to be in a school district to go to that school. In addition to that, we are then building up our own content partners. So what you're going to hear in the third section today is we're going to be talking about our faculty. These are the people that are actually doing the teaching. And what we've found is that the most powerful way to think about education is that there are three bottlenecks within education. Bottleneck number one is the curriculum itself. If the curriculum is out of date, well, then it doesn't matter who the teacher is or where you're learning from, it's going to be the wrong content, right? So curriculum and how we bring on board all the best curriculum, but give those people a way to not have to show up to the class every day by recording the content, having it on video and so on. Like this allows us to work with the top influencers in the world and the top teachers in the world. So that's curriculum, right? The second thing is the actual faculty, the people teaching, right? If you've got a great curriculum, you want to make sure you've got the right teachers, and too much of the digital learning that happens, you don't have anyone to actually help you to do it. So by us having faculty that actually can choose, I'm going to choose this curriculum or that curriculum, I'm going to build on it to do my own as well. And then you can actually then be putting your stamp and your IP on the programs that you feel are right. Who knows? There might be some kid at school who basically sees how math is being taught, thinks he's got a better way of teaching it. He can create his own micro school on GeniusU, and then that can grow. And if that goes viral, he's going to make a whole lot of money than his math teacher. In fact, he's going to end up basically being the one who most people are going to be recommending as well, with our point system, with our recommendation system, right? And then the third thing is that if you go, wow, okay, so like if it's the wrong curriculum, the rest doesn't work. If it's the wrong teacher, the rest doesn't work. But if I can actually choose the right curriculum with the right teacher, the third thing is the community or the classroom. Where am I going to show up to learn this? Do I want to do it on my own? Do I want to do it for group? Do I want to do it locally or apart? So schools themselves are also a bottleneck. You know, if you go to a place like Harvard, Harvard has a 97% rejection rate. Cambridge has a similar. You know, someone once said to me, this is a little bit like the fact that they boast that they reject 97% of people when education is a need, is a little bit like a soup kitchen boasting that they have a 97% rejection rate on people having soup, right? And so basically this is like really thinking differently to say, how do you actually give everyone access? And then those who want to accelerate or want to enhance their learning, they'll pay extra. Just like if someone's playing a computer game like Minecraft or Fortnite, it's free to play. But if you actually want to have the extra pieces on top, well, then you can pay, but it's your choice if you choose to do that. So we're choosing a similar freemium model that allows everyone to democratize education to actually be part of this as well. But those that actually want to take it further, then are going to find plenty of people to say, okay, I want to be giving extra and I want to be part of this as well. So the third aspect there is the curriculum. So we have content partners that actually help the curriculum. We then have the faculty partners that deliver on the teaching. And then we then also have the community partners who are the ones that are then delivering on the schools. And they are our city leaders, our country leaders. And we then, everyone who comes in, we'll give them to you to then look after within our community as well. And so this makes it high touch as well as high tech. We don't see anyone else doing that at the same level that we're doing this right now. And so if you like that model, please do post a yes, give your comments in the chat as we go as well. And with that, let me now go through, because I'm about to bring on two people that are going to be having a conversation with me. But let me first of all just open my link here, because I do want to I think it's actually gone onto the wrong slide right now. So let me go find it. I believe it is here somewhere. I think because I'm now using multiple places. Here we go. All right, so I'm going to go and share my screen again. And you'll see here that these are my slides working. As well as me sharing about the content partners, we actually already have got different niches within both our Entrepreneur Campus, which starts with free masterclasses and goes all the way up to MBA program, or our Investor Campus, which again starts from free masterclasses, goes through workshops, all the way up to MBA programs. We have got different niches, and I will show you before the end of this whole conference, which niches already have been taken, which ones are available, and the quality of the faculty that are coming on board to be the content partners to build out these different programs within Entrepreneur Campus, Investor Campus. So effectively think of these like modules or tracks that people can follow. If someone wants to learn about digital marketing, someone wants to learn about leadership and even women leadership, we've got an incredible leader that's leading this part that we're going to be hearing from, Bea Benkova. She's going to be joining us today. Or also on this side, on the Investor Campus, do you want to learn about cryptocurrencies, more interested in angel investing, right? Are you interested in fundraising, right? Then there are actually also tracks where people can be learning about each of these areas as well. And then in addition to that, we have our regional leaders. So these are the community partners where we have different people leading different countries right now as well. So we've got Patrick and Tamami who are going to be joining us talking about how they're actually leading their countries using all of our tools at the moment. We're going to show you where there are at the moment openings that we're actually building out at the moment. So you're going to see which of these different countries or states, because some of these are states as well in the US, are actually available, which are open and which also already are taken. We started in APAC, so these are almost all taken now. We then moved to Europe, and actually America is the very last place that we've come to after building our community all over the world. These here, if you want to know what these stand for, NASA doesn't stand for the space agency. It actually stands for North America, South America. EMEA stands for Europe, Middle East, and Africa. And APAC stands for Asia Pacific, but includes the whole Asia region, and also includes Australia and New Zealand as well. So we basically have got 3 time zones of 8 hours each, which encompass 24 hours. And that really makes us a global classroom where at any moment we have classes that are taking place. We're going to be talking about the Genius Formula in the next section. How do we actually work out the freemium model in a way that you can take $100,000 and turn it into $1 million? We've proven this model over and over again, and we're going to show you why it works and how we're going to be ensuring that everyone who becomes one of our partners comes on board and becomes part of that as well. And so that freemium model is going to be a really critical part of understanding there's a new way to think about education. And how do you build out the Genius Formula? How do you plan it? How do you build it? How do you grow it? The way we're setting up our schools to teach our partners how to make this work, starting from January, right? So we're actually already kicking this off, and how that then leads to the earnings that our partners will have as we grow our students all the way through the 4 quarters of 2023. In March, we have our Global Learning Summit, where everyone comes and joins on the education side. 3 months later, we have the Impact Investing Summit. 3 months after that, we have the Global Entrepreneur Summit. And we finished the year with the Global Impact Summit. We have 4 summits over 4 quarters or 4 seasons. And in each one of these, we are going to be basically having leaderboards where we're showing just how much everyone in different countries and different areas are making an impact in the world. And we'll also be sharing with you how we actually take all of the revenues for every dollar that someone pays us, how it actually splits up between the regional leaders, between the faculty, so everyone can then end up actually taking a percentage that works for them, and how we actually distribute all of the revenues in a way that really ensures that we can actually have sustainable, growing education companies that are part of the education revolution. So with that, because these are all the areas I'm going to get into afterwards, let me come over to this slide here, because this slide basically shows you who we actually have got right now who are going to come join me. I have Rav Kawal, who is our Genius Group Chief Revenue Officer that I mentioned. I also have Saranjit Sangar, who's our GeniusU CEO. And so I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And if we can tag both of them so that they're also showing up on the YouTube live, that would be awesome. Hello to both of you. Hi, Rav.
Hi, Georgia. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, good to have you here. And Saranjit, you're on mute, so you can unmute yourself as well. And good to see you here as well. Tell us where you are in the world right now.
Hello, hi everyone. Super excited, super pumped, especially after hearing Roger speak about the education revolution that we are working on. Hi, I'm Saranjit and I'm sat in London. Lovely to meet you all.
Fantastic, very, very cool. And Rav, let everyone know where you are as well.
Hi, everybody. I'm in Los Angeles. I'm actually at UAV, the university that Roger was talking about, where we are integrating a lot of our programs into the traditional educational standard and also the new age, and also what the new partners are bringing on. So really excited to meet everyone.
Brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. And I would say this is one of the biggest benefits. A lot of people ask, Roger, was it worth, becoming a public company? I say absolutely, because by being a public company, you're going to bring on high quality, high level, very experienced leaders that can actually really build us next level. Both Rav and Saranjit have had experience building companies to $1 billion size, and it's super awesome to have them here leading our charge right now as well. Here's what I'd love to do. Rav, I'd love to start with you, where obviously you've been working with all of the different groups in the company, and like a lot with Saranjit, with Michelle. Could you just share with everyone like what you see in terms of how now that we're bringing together the university degree programs together with our entire investor and entrepreneur community, how you see things evolving during this year in terms of the synergies that you're currently working on, and even how that links into the likes of Revealed Films and the other companies that are in the group as well.
That's great. And the thing I love that about question is it's also asked, how are we evolving education? First of all, we are really differentiating what we're offering. For example, the traditional MBA program, been around for decades, hasn't really evolved. It's really hard to differentiate. People think, where do I want to go to school? Do I go for brand? Do I go for price? Do I go for what's online? What's not? Well, what we are a part of is bringing the evolution of that. Now we're not only integrating additional courses that you talked about from the GEM program, but now people can also take an MBA with a concentration in crypto, which is really new, or investing, or property investment. Reveal Films is also having some incredible documentaries bringing things like understanding mental health or the hacking of money in today as we standard. Bringing those and building back of courses at maybe level 1, level 2, and then going on full-on degree is a whole breadth of offerings. That's the next iteration of education that people can choose what they want to focus on and get what they need to build their business.
And I think this is what's super exciting, is that now that we're building this out, a great example would be like the summit we just ran, where we had Peter Demandis on there talking about all the exponential technologies. We had Salim Ismail with his exponential organization system that he has, and Vern Harnish that actually set up a young entrepreneur organization now as EO, and he has this whole Gazelles program where he's worked with so many fast growth companies as well. And now the conversations we're having with them all, we just had a conversation with Peter's team yesterday about now building all of their content into our curriculum, so someone can go, wow, I'm actually learning from the top people, right? One of the last people that Peter interviewed was Elon Musk, right? On basically like what we can do to really save the planet. And for a student to go, I'm going to have Peter talking with Elon as part of my curriculum, right? It's just so exciting to see all that happen and build it together. Obviously, you're there in LA, and a big part of us is the growth in the US as well. I'd love you to just share that for a moment. The fact that we have US degree programs, why that's not just good for people in the US, but it's actually very attractive globally, because there's so many different people in different countries who would love to have that kind of acknowledgement or recognition as well.
Sure. UAV and the university, we've really concentrated originally in domestic partnership. And now having someone like Saranjit, who came from UpGrad, who's able to partner with a university like this. And it's really great because we have ownership in UAV and other universities, and bring that to the world all over through very simple technology, the GeniusU platform, making the ability to pay for it a lot easier, apply it a lot easier, all the efficiencies that traditional educations make it really difficult and have a lot of friction for. We've removed a lot of that. And now we're able to really source and bring this to a lot more broader audience through technology and just ease of applying.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Very cool. And Saranjit, I want to come over to you just to share as well, what you see different in what we're doing here at Genius Group, because you're so experienced on the edtech side, the whole industry. Obviously, UpGrad, started in India, and the biggest edtech companies are actually out of India. Companies like Baiju and Unacademy and others that are there already. But you've already seen how we are quite different. I'd love you to share that first, and then I have a follow-up question for that.
Absolutely, we'd love to share some ideas and thoughts. So what I have observed in the education industry, I've been in the education industry for a couple of years now, helping UpGrad, which is one of the largest online higher education companies, scale in the international markets, and really studied the entire industry, spoken to a lot of competitors. One thing that I have observed, if we go back, is education industry has moved in waves. The first wave was all about accessibility, and that gave rise to a lot of MOOCs, which take the education platforms, make it available online. But then came the second wave about, okay, that's a brilliant model. Now, how do various different universities start connecting to it and give rise to OPMs? But then came a time when people realized that actually it's not feasible for audiences or learners to just sit in front of the camera and watch lectures for hours and hours together at a time, at a stretch. That model does not work. And that gave rise to SPOCs, the short programs. I think we're riding the fourth wave now, and I see GeniusU actually leading that wave, which is outcome driven. Now it's all about tangibility. It's great. I'm taking these micro credentials, I'm taking these degree programs, but what am I actually doing with it? How am I actually using this in my real life? And that's where I feel GeniusU is really leading the wave. And what I mean by that is when I talk about outcomes, it's not just about getting that next promotion for a professional. For a lot of professionals, it's about, I have a business. How do I now gain the education that I have from the entrepreneurship campus and the mentors in the community and scale it? And GeniusU has actually given us examples where they've helped companies scale from a few $100,000s to $1 million businesses. It's about, I want to invest. How do I actually improve my investment portfolio? And we have examples where people have drastically improved their investment portfolios. That's an outcome. And now we are launching our university credentials where we are helping our students get relevant information. Marketing is no longer just about 4 Ps. It's about AI in marketing. And that's what our programs, that's what when Roger mentioned that we work with like the staff faculty and bring in really relevant content, that is what we intend to do. Bring really relevant content with our programs and help these younger business persons achieve their goals. So that's where I think GeniusU is very different, where it is combining all the relevant information, obviously making the content accessible, but at the same time focusing a lot on outcomes, which is tangible. And that is what actually makes us feel better about what we're doing. We're really having an impact on people's lives.
Yep, absolutely. And what I really love is the way you're combining now so much more. Now that AI is a big part, just so everyone knows, we've been using GPT-3 and GPT-4 is coming, which is 100 times the power of GPT-3, but GPT-3 already to build into basically even generating the copy, generating the steps, even generating the actual designs of what is now coming, which is the next generation Genius, which is why it says Genius 5.0 here, GeniusU, which is actually being launched as well. So I know, Saranjit, you put actually a number of different slides that are in here, which includes basically a student pathway, which obviously we're getting into as we're actually walking through what students go through. And then from here, our new homepage that we're actually developing and the design and the launch of what we're actually going forward with. Could you share a bit more about the different pieces that are on here right now?
Absolutely. So I'm just going to break that into 2 pieces, right? We want to attract, we want to grow our community. We want to grow to up to 6 million students this year. And for us to be able to do that, we really need a very clear, a very attractive value proposition in terms of what we are offering, which we already have. We have an entrepreneur campus, we have an investor campus, and we have a university campus. But what we can improve on is supporting it by tech, by product that is also very credible, very attractive, and very trustworthy. We're doing it in a smart fashion. We are kind of walking the talk by actually, taking advantage of ChatGPT, for example, or various different AI tools available in the market to come together with a new website, a shiny new website that would make navigation, discoverability for our learners very simple. At the end of the day, when students come to the platform, they want to navigate and find what they're interested in. They want to engage with the community. They want to experience our products. And once they like it, they want to refer it. That's how we grow our community. And that's how we grow our student base. So we are working on the product to be able to do that with the MVP launched towards the end of this quarter. The second most important part is actually partners. And that's a unique model that I have seen at Genius, where we are not just obsessing about consumers, where most of the other companies in the world have done and ended up burning cash. We are looking at the model very sustainably. We are also leveraging the most important assets, partners such as yourselves. And we need to be able to support you equally. At the end of the day, when partners come on our platform, they either want to host their content or leverage our content, be able to do that effectively. They want to be able to tap into our community in a very efficient manner without spamming, but in a very engaging manner. And they want real-time data. They want data on how are my campaigns performing? And that's what our new partner portal is going to do. So the team again is working with me on that to launch the MVP version by the end of this quarter.
Yeah, the partner portal I love because it's built into exactly the Genius formula where we have, as you can see here, first of all, a plan stage where you're actually planning out, all right, well, what size business do I actually want for my education company? Like, how much am I looking to earn and how many people would that mean I need to actually scale to? And everyone's at different levels. So some will go for a smaller size, some go for a bigger size, but knowing there's always the next level up once you're actually ready for that next level and you've got the right team, understanding basically that after you've actually done the planning is the build stage. How do you build the pieces out? And what's super exciting is how we're partnering with different people on the different build pieces. And then from there, how do you then grow it by actually tracking? And we've actually got real-time statistics and plugins, which actually know exactly how many registrations, attendances, how many people are buying from you, what's happening with your email sends, like everything that basically gives you the tools to basically run a global classroom and global business all in one place, which is like super exciting. But the other thing in this is when we talk about partnerships, what we've actually grown globally over the last 10 years by having a very inclusive way of thinking about partnerships. We'll say, okay, who wants to take on what parts? Who's the best in the world that we can work with? And we'll go out and we'll work with those people. From the development point of view, we had a more centralized approach. Let's go get a development team. But now what we're doing is actually building out from that, who are the best people out there that can actually help us on this? So I'll just give you one example of this. Everyone knows the power of having your own quiz or your own assessment, right? For people to start by learning more about themselves. Daniel Priestley, who basically set up Then Global and also set up something called the Score app, he basically was one of the first to really bring our wealth dynamics into Europe. In fact, he was the representative in the UK and built out wealth dynamics there. That I really like the way this works, but I think everyone should be able to have their own quizzes. And so what he's built out is a full way that you can actually do your own quiz, use AI, right? So he's actually using GPT-3 so that off the back of this, it actually even says, tell me about your business, tell me about what you're looking to achieve with your customers. It will create your own quiz for you. I mean, it just creates it all out. And then basically here's the design that will actually work for you. You get the dashboard, all the different pieces. So, in our approach now, rather than us going out there and basically saying, let's just go and build something similar to Score App, we just say, hey, let's go partner with Score App. And Score App is one of a few different companies we're looking at that have amazing assessment tools. We're doing the same for the learning and management systems, the same for the community systems, the same for how we actually go about the compensation systems. We plug them all in, just like we actually have a base of Salesforce, which is we're building on as well. I'd love for you to just finish on that, Rav, on your side, from the point of view of the people you're now speaking to, who are the top marketing agencies, the top sales companies, and the technology companies that we're actually now working with to really make sure that we're not having to be a bottleneck, but that we've actually got all the right best in class across all areas that are going to help us all as educators.
And it really speaks to one of the lessons that you shared at one of Masters. You said, when you want to grow, divide, bring on the best partners, bring on the people that have the expertise. As we build out the playbook from sales and marketing standpoint that we've seen in enormous portfolio companies in my back in days in private equity, the key thing was you got to ask from your sales side, are you really training your salespeople to really communicate the value of the products? Are you providing workflows that are consistent when new team members join on? Are you providing coverage all around the clock? A lot of time, even a lot of entrepreneurs maybe on this call are dealing with their salespeople are joining from 9 and they leave at 5 p.m. and there's no coverage for their customers. So we've partnered with some of the greatest sales, international sales companies that provide a lot of either agents or even admissions folks to really coverage the times that maybe our traditional in-house salespeople aren't going to be a part of. In addition to that, marketing can be really great constraint. It's amazing what ChatGPT can do, but are you able to go through your Facebook, Google Analytics? Are you able to work with the best partners? So we bring on additional resources to really support not only us internally, but also a lot of our partners, and to get them the latest version of doing marketing versus something that had been previously dated, and helping them implement the Genius formula a lot faster and bringing a lot more customers exposure. For example, at UAV, just by implementing the first stage of Genius formula, we dramatically increased our lead flow by 60% year from the comparison of January month over month. By implementing numerous channels with the latest way of marketing versus static images and using really more educative short form reels that are giving free education, we've had a 2,600% growth in 2 months just on our leads from social media. So by implementing these best practices with these world-class partners, we're able to not only internally be better, but also provide that to our partners as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that is one of the most exciting things. And for any of you here who are actually on the tech side as well, say, I could also, be actually, supporting this. Like, there's ways I can be doing it. This is not something where everyone's just waiting for the head office team at Genius Group to figure this out. This is where we're actually making everyone part of the growth of this as well, which is very exciting. I want to say a really big thank you to both of you, to Rav, to Saranjit, for coming and joining us. It's going to be an exciting year ahead. Thanks very much. And I'm going to be passing it back to you, Michelle, because this is the end of section 1, and we're going to be getting ready soon for section 2.
What? We've already done section 1. Oh my goodness. All right. Thanks so much, Roger. And thanks to Saranjit and Rav as well. Great to see you guys on here. So listen, I would love to hear from everyone. What's been your biggest takeaway so far from this first section? You've heard about the education revolution. You've heard about the movement that is getting started. You've even heard about the fight that is starting to happen on Wall Street as well. So I'd love to hear, and also the exciting things that are happening with GeniusU, with the Genius Formula, and the way that the whole face of education is changing. So I'd love to hear from everyone what has been your biggest takeaway. Now, earlier on, I did say that we were having a competition for the greatest chat, comment, and insights. And I said, go do that on GeniusU. And some of you have done that. But then, of course, we also said that we want to see you chatting on YouTube. So we're going to run the competition on both pages, whether you are chatting on GeniusU, whether you're dropping your comments into YouTube. The team are going to be checking, looking for the best insight, the best comment, the best question. So do go and drop in. And I can see quite a lot of you are already here on the YouTube channel, which is great. We're seeing quite a lot of comments already coming through. I know Bali was saying she wants to come and help us grow the leadership partnership. So Bali, that's great. I'm going to show you how you can book a call. Also, we had inclusive music here asking, like, where are the slides? I'm going to show you how to access the slides as well. Yeah, we got people really, lots of yeses, Roger, when you were asking, like, is everyone with you? Is everyone excited about what you're doing? Mr. Boston here wants to join us with the learning as well. Super keen. Jesse saying, would love to see a pathway for troubled teens as well, to help them understand themselves. And we've got that within the Genius School as well, right? So we've got the school campus going as well. So do go and drop in either in the YouTube chat here. What's been your biggest takeaway, your biggest insight so far from this first session, or drop it into the GeniusU section so that we can see where everybody is at right now. And somebody will be winning a Flow Consultant Place, which is our level 1, either educator or community builder. You'll be winning that today live on this call. So if you're watching the YouTube later, because it's not live, you won't have a chance to win. But if you're here right now watching us, you're going to get a chance to win. So that's really good. Okay, so those of you who are asking, how do you access the slides, etc., they're here on this page. So the team, if you can drop this into the YouTube chat as well. We've got a page here where you can see, you can come and join our entrepreneur campus that we were talking about on GeniusU. You heard Saranjit talking about that as well. You can download the slides that we're sharing here from the conference as well. And you can go ahead and book a call. So Bali, if you want to come work with us on women's leadership, we'd love you to book a call and have a chat with the team and see if partnering with us is the right thing to do as well. We'll share a little bit more about this later on, but you can go do that already so that we can so you can be downloading the slides and having that chat with us as well. So awesome first section. We're going to be moving on now to our second section, which is specifically breaking down the 2 different types of partnerships. So Roger explained we have our community partners, our regional partners who are out there building communities in a specific area, whether that's as a country partner, whether that's a translation partner, or as a city leader. And then later on, we're going to be talking to the educators who already are out there educating, both of which, both the community and the education partners, can build $1 million businesses partnering with us on GeniusU. So Roger, why don't we start off, first of all, with the community side? And I believe we're going to be bringing on some of our community partners in this section as well. So back over to you.
Sure. Okay. Thank you so much, Michelle. And here's what I'd love everyone to do in the chats, because now we're talking about community, right? Which is basically what city are you in, right? Or country, right? But basically from city, I think we're going to all figure out what country you're in. Just post your city right now, like just in the chat, just go ahead, post your city so we can see where you are in the world. Some of you in the same city, some of you in like other total opposite, parts of the world from each other. But just go ahead and post that. I'm going to have a look and see what we have coming up. We've got here Kuala Lumpur, we've got London, we've got Johannesburg, we've got Brisbane, Athens, Perth, we've got Newquay, Cornwall. Okay, that's good. All right, we've got Toronto, Boston, And so it continues on. Boston is Mr. Boston. Okay, awesome. I like that. And so do post where you are a bit and ask yourself, where would I go in my city to go to the campus, which is where I can learn about entrepreneurship, not go through just a 3-year course, but just like today, like just learn something which is going to really help me connect to the people that are going to be the right people. Know I can bring my kids as well because they're also going to be learning at the right level. And at the same time, investing, right? Where can I go physically show up, or just like, be part of a virtual course where I can just learn what I need to learn and find the people that can actually teach me, share with me, right? And for some of you, you think, I don't have anywhere where I can actually do that, when the whole point is that education should be everywhere, that we should all have the ability to connect to it. So what I'm going to share with you is what we came out with as a model, which works really, really well. And we have already done it at one scale, right? Which has got us to the 4 million, but getting to 100 million is going to be basically now replicating that same scale. And so this whole idea of a community business, if I come back for a moment to what we were sharing before, which is the Genius formula, this is going to get you a bit more familiar with the Genius formula, at the same time as understand why we've had bottlenecks and how you can be part of unplugging the bottleneck if you decide to come and be one of our community partners, which means you're going to go, I'll be the guy or I'll be the girl that actually has the actual classroom in my city or in my country. I'm going to go out and get a whole bunch of city leaders, right? So that everyone then can be a part of this as well. As I was sharing earlier, right? Like everything starts when we talk about our Entrepreneur 5.0 pathway with someone who really doesn't even know this exists yet. Right. And so at the very beginning, the invitations phase, which is where someone in your city, they might come via us in GeniusU, they might come via you or one of your partners, but they basically come along saying, look, I'm interested to find out what kind of business should I be in? I'm interested in finding out, how do I get a skill set in learning how to use TikTok or how to use YouTube? I'm interested in finding out, like, how do I actually go out and get funding for my business, right? At any one level, I'm finding out, like, how do I actually get an MBA in entrepreneurship in such a way that it actually gets me a job with the likes of Google or with Apple? So this is where step one is where we actually have different ways we invite people in where they're like, okay, this makes sense. And you see there's a metric at the bottom, which is where for $100,000 to spend, right? There's a way that within the first month, it comes back already with $100,000 by people coming on board, trying something for free. Like I said, we're a freemium model. They might do an assessment, they might do a masterclass, but from there, they go, you know what? That's interesting enough that I actually am willing to come on to a workshop. Maybe it's only, $30, $100. It's not something that's going to break the bank, but it's something that allows them to say, you know what, this is worth my time. Because most of the things people need to learn, they don't even know they need to learn it, right? And for some of us, we go and do something which we thought we had to learn. Later on, we realized we didn't have to learn it. Some of us go and do an entire degree program on something or a subject to school that later on we never use in life. So this is where you get to test things out, right? So this is all about try before you buy, not pay before you play, right? And so basically, if you're at this level here, where you're actually trying things out, this is where you get to scale. You can see here, the 100,000 people might come in from $100,000. By the way, if $100,000 scares you away, make it 10,000. If 10,000 scares you away, make it 1,000, right? It's all scalable, where you might even just start 1,000, have your first 1,000 people come and join you. But we know the metrics that enable this to happen at a very low cost of less than $1 per person, because when you use things like assessments, it's very different from how the likes of Facebook ads or Google ads work, where it can take $3, $4 to find someone, right? So it's a very different cost per student that it costs. And then it then comes through into where you then have a membership program where people can then come every single month. They can come into your events you're running. They can basically come into the programs you're running, and you don't even have to run them. There can be other people that run it. This whole section, invite to level 2, is our community partners. It's largely when they're basically building their communities. And then they're saying, you know what, like there's a lot of people here who are interested in property investing. I'm going to connect to the faculty member that delivers the property investing. Hey, there's a lot of people I've got that say they want to learn about crypto trading or about share market trading. A lot of people that want to learn about how do I get into the ed tech industry or how do I get into the med tech industry. Well, then you connect to the faculty that actually is delivering that. They can come in and deliver it. And then from there, they then pass on to the next level. So I'm going to get onto the faculty side of how this might generate 100,000, but this here generates another 900,000, right? Which means you're now 10 timesing from that first 100,000. And like not everyone comes through to do all of this. It's just a small percentage of all of this community, but it's the right people. So you're not getting anyone buying something that they don't want to buy, right? And that's way better than trying to get people buying at a very high cost of acquisition. Most universities, they'll cost them $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 to find one customer. If any of you are running mastermind groups or higher end programs, workshops, retreats, it's really expensive to go find people and try and persuade them to come on board because you're getting them to pay before they play. They don't even know if there's going to be value. But if they've already done this and they already are convinced of the value of it, then of course they're going to do this, right? So understanding that this is the high-tech digital marketing strategy that many people use to build out programs that can get you to a couple of $1 million. This here is the high-touch strategy, which allows you to have conversations, find out what someone really needs. They already have the information, and as a result, they can then grow. We have exactly this happening in our university. Now, if we have basically our enrollment team call someone up and say, hey, which of our degree programs would you want to do? Most people over here have no idea. But if we actually were running workshops saying, here's the options and here's the different reasons different people like what they're doing, they'll already have a much more informed decision, which will allow them to actually make the right decision that's right for them as well. So this is not just about how do we educate students, it's about how do students educate themselves, right? And how do you get them to basically find the right path that's right for them? So it's personalized and it's student-centered as well. So that gives you a bit of a sense that we basically have got this build of trust from I trust you with my attention to I trust you with my time to I trust you with my money, right? And knowing that this isn't just education, it's all companies where this actually happens, where we need to think in that way. We deliberately split it up in a way that then makes sense, where you will see that within the pathway, there's a certain percentage at every level, which makes sense for any company, but it also makes sense for education companies, where you'll see that basically for every dollar that we generate, right? If we say, look, we want to make, $30 million, we say, okay, well, we're going to allocate 20% of that to our marketing. We want to make $100 million. Well, we'll add 20% to our marketing. This is basically what we're going to spend on marketing, whether it happens to be on ads, whether it happens to be on email marketing, whether it happens to be with an affiliate. We'd much rather pay a country leader the percentage than actually be like paying Facebook, right? Or pay Google. We'd much rather pay someone who actually already has got more care with their community base than basically someone just serving up ads, right? So this here is a percentage which basically goes to the country leader on anything they're providing. And this means that if you were to do something like our degree program and someone was to sign up for that, well, then there's already a percentage. But also, if you happen to partner with one of the other educators, and that educator basically came and shared, or you took their content from our micro schools or our workshops and you use those, then they also get that past that percentage as well. The beauty of our platform, GeniusU, is it divides up and pays automatically all the percentages, so you don't really have to worry about it, right? So you can say, right, I'm going to have my city and I'm going to start building out my school. And the great news about this is you can be sure that the curriculum you're delivering 5 years from now is as relevant as the curriculum today. What is that curriculum 5 years from now? I have no idea, because I don't know what people are going to be interested in. But I can guarantee you that the way that our curriculum grows, which is that all the best rises to the top because people rate it higher, people say this is better than this mentor is better than this mentor, is that all the best people who are most popular will show up at the top. You can partner with those people and know that this is what everyone's looking for right now. And as a result of that, you're always relevant and up to speed, right? The sales side, which is really the enrollment side, which is someone making a decision. Sometimes that's something that the country leader wants to do. Sometimes that's something that you say, you know what, we're going to pass it over to the Genius Ignited team, where we then have conversations with people globally in each region. And that way, basically, we can then put 10% towards those people that actually get someone to get to a decision, which is the right decision for them. So these are two different elements where someone is saying, is this something worth my time? Is this something worth my money? And understanding that this is a process. By most schools don't deliver this. They don't set this up. Most teachers have no say what the school is doing on the marketing side. Whereas here, you actually get to choose who's the best marketer, who's the one that's got the biggest engaged audience, and you as a faculty can go to them. And similarly, the ones who are the country leaders or regional leaders can actually move forward. Delivery is where the faculty comes in. So we'll get to this in the third section. And this is where faculty can actually be delivering on the best content to the best communities and earning good money, right? Like a third of all the money can be going to you. And then the content is where the person who actually delivers on the actual faculty content, where if they have $10 million or $20 million of their content going out around the world that other people are delivering, that other communities are consuming, they still get to keep 10% of all of that, right? Which means that they can quite easily end up with like $100,000 plus a month with their content going out globally. Any teacher in the current school system or even any lecturer at a university has no way, if they have great content, to get it out globally to everyone all at the same time. Whereas with this system, you can. So this is why we think that the community partner is as important, if not more important, than the faculty. Because without the community partners, there would be no global community for the faculty to then teach to. So how does it work at the actual community partner level? Well, the way that it works is that we basically have got a level by level step where you might go, I like this idea. I've actually got my own community already. I want to get that community to be using some of these different tools. Well, it's actually free to just come on board, join as an affiliate, and straight away be able to do that, right? Some of you go, well, you know what? There's a summit that happens every 3 months. We've got masterclasses in every region now, once a month. I'll just send people to that masterclass, or I'll just send people to the summit. And when you do that, then you become one of our event partners, where the actual entry point is very, very low, right? Like someone who pays in 270 actually gets with that a whole series of tickets, which actually pays for themselves when you actually either give those tickets out to people in your community. You can charge for it, or you can actually make it like a value add to the things that you're doing as well. So many of our trainers and many of our teachers, they basically just become an event partner. They get their branding on all of our summits, and then they basically go out and share with everyone else. And it's how we fill our summits up with 20,000 people, right? And then if you actually say, you know what, on a more ongoing basis, I don't want to just be making $10,000 an event. I want to have a business or a supplemental business where I can be making $40,000 to $100,000 a year, right? Again, that's only $4,000 or $5,000 a month, but that's significant as additional revenue if you're out there making a difference as well, right? So again, we're rewarding our entire community in every school that shows up. And think of yourself like a micro school. You don't even need to have a venue. You could be showing up in a cafe, you can be showing up at your home, but you're bringing people together. And in there, they're actually then saying, wow, I really love this. I want to take the next step. And we just track all of that and ensure that basically you're compensated for all of your efforts. And everyone that you have is then going to be your success story at whatever level they're operating. City Host is at one level. The investment goes into training, right? So $1,500 gives you basically that license for a year, and it gives you the training for the year where you're now building that out. Going from City Host to City Leader, where you now are actually able to start building your own faculty, which means that 30% coming on actually faculty, you have your trainers. So we have many different city leaders that have built their own faculty that now are training in different areas. That then basically is now at the $150,000, $300,000 level. You're now starting to build a small team around that. But if you want to get to the $1 million plus level, then you get up to basically above that. I think that basically when we start going up to the idea of a country leader is where we now have got basically a license, which is making you anywhere, like the two people I'm about to come on board, you know, they've got businesses which are substantial now because they basically are building out this whole model that enables them to actually be able to look after their entire country, and actually to be able to do it also with the languages as well. These are our country leaders around the world. As of now, we have Patrick, who's going to join us in a moment, that is looking after Hong Kong and China. We have got also Tamami is going to join us, who's looking after Japan. We have other leaders. These are the highlighted leaders at the moment in different countries. We're just getting started in the US. We're just getting started in Europe because this is really kind of grown out of Asia originally. And you can see at the moment, all these different positions we're filling right now. So in a number of them, you can see already New Zealand's taken. We're having conversations with Australia and South Africa. We have different areas in Los Angeles, New York, Canada. Canada basically is like a huge area. We have a lot of students. We have a lot of students that aren't being looked after right now. So they're actually just getting the online side, but they're actually asking, when can I have my actual offline events or programs as well? And we actually ask country leaders to just have one event a month. Really simple. It can be quite small, but it gives people a meeting point, a way to connect, a way to basically be a magnet, right, for others to actually come on board and be part of it as well. And we also have language opportunities where every time we have a different language, yes, we can use AI to make sure that we're actually designing language in the right way, but to have faculty members in different languages that can deliver the different programs. We're so excited by this because it means that our US degree programs and entrepreneurship investing, our MBA programs can be now delivered all over the world in different languages. And then someone like Peter Diamandis, right? Or, someone like Stephen Covey, right? Who these are people that have brought their content. Someone like Seth Godin, who has been a speaker in one of the summits. For each of these people who already have their best-selling books in multiple languages, to know that they've actually got faculty in those different areas as well. That you're taking a cut of the percentage and they're taking a cut because they're the content providers, means that, again, everyone wins, everyone shares, no one's trying to compete with each other. And so, again, if you happen to either know like that this is a language that you would love to take on, or you have someone that you know that you should be referring to this, we expect that by the end of this year, all of these are going to be taken and we're going to be growing our partner army all over the world. These are all the city leader positions at the moment, which the reason that we're not putting all the cities on here is we're picking the ones where we have the biggest online communities, where people are coming to us day by day, joining us. Just to give you an idea of the scale, we're now going from 1,000 to 2,000 new students every single day, right? So this is not a small number. For a school to have 1,000 students alone, many schools would be happy with this. we're getting 1,000 to 2,000 new students joining every single day, which means today there's going to be another 1,000, 2,000. Same was yesterday, same tomorrow. And all of those students are looking for the right people to be looking after them, not just using our online platform. So with that, let me just basically say that the actual steps that you follow, like what does it take to be at each level? We're going to go through that in the last part of today, but just that idea of there being different cities or different countries, different languages. I would love for everyone here, this is what we're going to do, because we have the whole team that's actually facilitating this as well. In the actual chat, you can post what is the particular city or country that you'd be really curious or interested in actually having a conversation about with us, because you'd like to see, is this a right fit for you, right? Or someone you know to take this on board as well. Do know again that as we grow, we're doing this collectively together, right? So it's us bringing people on board, you bringing people on board, and us looking after people in each of those different areas. And the more that someone's successful, then the more we're going to put effort into that area as well, right? So we're not basically having a strategy to say, we want this country to be more successful than that country, right? Or this city to be more than this city. No, it's about where we see the momentum. And if one city has actually got a lot more momentum than others, then we'll basically put more support within that area as well. So what would be the area that you'd be most curious or most interested in? You can go ahead, post it down. We already got here, Toronto from Diane. We've got St. Petersburg, Russia. That is super interesting, by the way. Russia at the moment is desperate for more education right now. We've got Jeff saying Atlanta. We've got Tian saying Kuala Lumpur. We've got another Morphosis also saying Kuala Lumpur. Some of you, if you, hey, that's interesting. We're both looking at the same city. We'd get you together and you can then partner up with each other, which is where this gets to be powerful. Roxanne saying London. We have a huge group in London. And at the moment, we're looking for the right London leader that can actually come on board and support that as well, which is actually super exciting. And so the list goes on. So what I'm going to basically do as an additional piece to this is say, okay, well, if you are, taking this on, right, as one of these city leaders, how do you use the tools that we're actually providing, the partner portal that you saw Saranjit share? How are you going to use all of that in a way that's really going to work well for you? So what I'm going to do now is basically just give you a couple more kind of like insights into what we mean by the Genius formula and what, as a community leader, right, whether it's a country leader, whether it's a city leader, what are the steps that you can then be taking to actually really build it out? The first thing is to see that the way that we design our entire Genius formula, I'm going to keep on coming back to this graphic because it's such a powerful graphic where you can see we actually design it out in such a way that we actually have each of these different elements that we say you need to build out. When we're mapping this out, I will show you that we actually have here a template, right? This here is the Entrepreneur Institute partner portal and how we're using the Genius formula. And we do this, basically, we walk this through in the planning stage with each of our different partners that come on board, right? So by joining us now, you're actually joining basically a 3-part process of here's how I'm going to plan, here's how I'm going to build, and then here's how I'm going to grow. And when we actually build each of these areas out, we link them all together in such a way that you're mapping out of what works for you. So you're actually plugging into each of these areas. Well, what are my ads? What is it I actually want to have in an assessment? How am I going to design this out? And when we get to the actual mapping part, I'll just give you an idea of the mapping part, right? On the mapping part, what we then do is we then basically will map out. We have something which is called our project map. And in the project map, what we do is we basically link all of this into a graphic where I can take a particular graphic. Let's say, for example, this is a pathway for Entrepreneurs Institute, for example, right? And it takes us into this graphic here where you then are getting the guidance, right? From us, from our team. This might look complex, it's really not. You can copy and paste from this where it actually says, okay, first part is invitation. So are you going to go out with a Facebook ad or with an email? If you're going to go out with a Facebook ad, what does that ad actually look like? You click and it actually takes you through to the ad. So you can actually say, well, why didn't this one work so well? How can we actually improve on it? How can we do it better? Right? So you're actually tracking on each one. So this is one, for example, of the impact meter. And you can see basically people liking it. You can see all these comments coming up, all these people sharing about it. So you're finding all the leads of people that are even commenting on the ads. And obviously this is one specifically for Facebook. It goes through to, okay, what's the landing page? What's the actual registration page? What emails are you sending out? When do you send the emails out? How do they actually become part of an automated flow? And all this then links into our Salesforce system and our GeniusU system. And all of this can then be evolved and changed. Even when you do the timing of emails, when you actually then follow up with people, it's all about that timing. And most of this best practice, we know it because we've worked with so many different partners. But for most people starting out, or even someone who's got a successful business, it's always moving and changing. You don't have all that information. So by us having an ad studio, us having an email studio, by us having landing page studios and drag and drop where you can actually create your own, it means that you can plug and play by taking all the different pieces and saying, well, I'll take that one because that works best, and I'll modify it for myself. I'll take that one because that works best, and I'll take the pathway. And then from that pathway, what that allows you to do, if you're like as a community member, you don't have to figure all this out for yourself. You're using the tools we're building. What you then do basically is then go through and say, right, now I'm going to start tracking it. Am I getting my 10 times result? Am I seeing that result now building through, right? So we actually do, tracking on a week by week basis. This is where the daily tracking or the idea that you're actually tracking goes through. In this week here, for example, okay, we spent $20,000, we made $150,000. So what happened through level 1, level 2? You can see some things are green. Okay, so we're above our follower number. We're doing better than our spend per customer than we're expecting. We're doing better on our dollars per purchase than we're expecting. We're doing better on number of purchases. Number of registrations was lower than we expected, right? The community number was lower. Our number of scale-ups, which are the people that actually have the bigger businesses, because people do assessments where we see what size business they have or what size portfolio they have. And then we want to treat them as VIPs. Is it too low? Is it too high? And so we can always then adjust the piece, and we can go back and say, right, this is what needs to change on here as well. That's the grow part where you're learning and earning at the same time as well. Many of you will do some parts of this, but at the end of the day, we're all too busy to be able to actually pull all these metrics together. The Genius formula is basically saying, right, there is an optimum way that you can be tracking. Are you building trust with your community? Do you have enough people getting free information, or do you need to actually provide better free content? Do you have enough people actually really understanding what it is you deliver and that they're qualified to actually take the next step? If not, okay, here's how you actually qualify better, or how you create a better landing page, right? Is your content good enough that people want to come back and refer their friends? If not, focus at that area. So instead of focusing at 20, 30 things, you're focusing at just what is the most important thing that is the thing you need to be focusing at right now. I'll share one other thing, just give you a case study of this, because we're about to go into a couple of conversations with our country leaders. This would be a case study where we take someone, let's say, for example, like Simon Zucci. Simon runs PIN. If you don't know about PIN, this here is the PIN website, right? So let me just open it up. This basically is the Property Investors Network. It's based in the UK. It basically has got already all of these meetings that take place every single month, right? So you can see all of these January, February meetings. You've got a global virtual one. You've got Manchester, Clapham, Harrogate, Hull, Kensington, Croydon, all over UK. And for the last 10 years, Simon's been building this just in England. But now that we've acquired his company, Property Investors Network, he's now scaling to the US. He's scaling into Europe. He's scaling into Asia. And as he's doing this, he's building this whole community partnership into all those different areas. And so when we analyze his business, and his business is going to be going from what it is now right now, like $6 million business to a $10 million business, we're going to help him scale that. And the way we do it is we do an analysis, which is what I do with all of our level 3 companies, right? So basically when you're level 3, I'm personally mentoring you, right? As we actually grow these different areas that we talked about. And this is something we've never done before. I've done it with specific people like Simon. So I would walk through with him a plan, not a 1-year plan, but a 5-year plan. And in that 5-year plan, we would say, okay, Simon, what have you got right now? You've got the PIN meetings. You have a summit, which you run, very similar to our summit, called Property Magic Live. He's got all these incredible property investors that share information with each other, say, this is what's going on in the marketplace. Again, any of you in the US who are part of this, you might go, wow, does this mean if I'm part of a city or a state, I can actually now bring Simon's property investment programs in as well as the entrepreneur programs? The answer is yes. Like, you can bring in all the programs that work for you. And what you might bring in your state might be different from what someone brings in a different state. That's absolutely fine, because different states are looking for different things, right? He's got masterclasses, right, which are these $2,000 programs over 6 weeks. He's got his accelerated and mastermind programs. And you can see his mastermind goes up to $30,000, which is similar to doing a degree program. But what's really interesting is as he's gone through these different elements, when we did an analysis of his pathway and we mapped his pathway to our Genius pathway, we already found where the holes were, right? We basically said, okay, here's the bottlenecks. First bottleneck is that you don't have any way to get free people in. So the only way they come in is they've got to pay to come to an actual PIN meeting, which means that you've got to pay before you can play. And the problem with that is that if someone's not sure, is this the right thing for me or not, there's no easy way to do it. So let's actually start by actually having a global community online, and let's give them an assessment they can take, which actually allows them to be able to then basically go to the next level. So that's where we've actually built the wealth dynamics for property investors. We built the Genius test for investors, which then links all these people in much more easily. Okay, pin meetings, that's going really well. But what we should do is grow that globally, right? So that's missing. And then at the moment, there isn't an easy link between pin meetings and Property Magic Live. Why? Because a lot of the people that are taking on the actual hosts are not necessarily interested in letting people go to the next levels. They just want the networking. But if you qualify people in to say, look, like you actually are going to earn more money by finding the right people that want to educate themselves, and you also find then the right success stories to be your speakers, because these people will be out there getting successes, coming back, sharing the success. So it's like, great, that totally makes sense. I should be doing that. And then you then have the next steps. We're not even creating new products here because these products work really, really well, right? But then by the time you get up to the Mastermind Accelerator program, let's make this just basically an entry level into the Mastermind, which makes it really easy. Let's give the whole thing gem credits, which means someone who actually goes through this is getting credits that can go towards a degree program, additional certifications, or even an MBA in the future as well. And so all of it then links through. And then that basically then zooms down to, let's just focus at three things. We'll build a PIN online community. We'll build the PIN licenses, which means now you're going to have faculty in different parts of the world, right? Or PIN faculty and PIN licenses, where you now have got global growth with cities and countries around the world, which means that he's now saying, okay, I'm going to be bringing on these country leaders. I'm going to take exactly the same model that you just saw us go through as well. So you might go, I love this idea. I actually want to be a country leader, but I want to focus more at investors than at entrepreneurs, right? Or you might be saying, no, I want to be a city leader. I want to invest. I want to focus at both, right? And we'll work with you on whatever works best for you, because again, this is about localizing for each place. Think local, grow global, right? And if we each do that in that way, we just end up with the most incredible magic off the back of that as well, right? So that basically is the whole thesis when we actually talk about having a particular region or having a particular way that you can then grow as well. So with that shared, I am now going to come over to Tamami and Patrick. I'd love you both to be unmuted and to share yourself. Let's pin them both so they're both on here as well. I can see Patrick already is on here. Hello, Patrick. How are you?
Hi, how are you? Good to see you.
Very good. Yeah, good to see you as well. How's Hong Kong right now?
Hong Kong is quite cold today, and
okay,
we are ready for the Chinese New Year.
Okay, fabulous. Good. Yeah, this is the most interesting thing, right? Like, if you're in America, your celebrations start at Thanksgiving and kind of end after New Year. If you're in China or Hong Kong, it really starts at New Year and then ends at Chinese New Year. If you're in Singapore, it starts at Thanksgiving, goes all the way through to Chinese New Year. They do all of them. So obviously, I was born in Hong Kong, right? So Hong Kong is very dear to me, and I haven't been back for a long time because of COVID, everything like that. But I'll be coming back to you in a moment, Patrick. We also have Tamami here from Japan. Hello, Tamami.
Hi, Roger.
So
nice
good to see you,
everyone.
Tamami. Yeah, very good to have you here. And you are in Tokyo right now, right?
I'm actually in Nagoya, but I'm based in Tokyo. Yeah.
Okay, fabulous. Very, very good. So this model, I really want to be able to share with everyone, how you've evolved this model. Because again, if they look at the model of, hey, if you invite people into something like a summit, you invite people into other people's programs, there's percentage for that. But the one thing I really want to focus on now is what happens that really is the action point, right? In your case, Tamami, what you've done is you've said, okay, well, that's all fine and good, and I can do that. But there are two really big growth areas. One big growth area is I can have a whole army of consultants that can actually be going out there as my faculty all over Japan, speaking in Japanese. But secondly, I can also go for the corporate market where I can actually take all these tools and I can build that out as well. So you were sharing with me that this year you're going to be doing about $3 million. Of that $3 million, about $2 million is going to be in the entrepreneur market and about $1 million is in the corporate market. So let's start with the entrepreneur market. Could you just share how many trainers you've actually trained up over time and the way you've built that model, especially because for those who know Wealth Dynamics, you're a low profile, so you're more introvert, but you have this huge community now all over Japan.
Yes. Cumulatively, I trained about 2,000 plus trainers. And as a load, I just did what I'm good at. And what I'm not good at, I just added, in my team. Actually, I don't have a what, huh? So my what part is Roger. And when I started Wealth Dynamics, I was a little well connected. And at the beginning, I had a pretty famous authors as my close friend, and they actually created the first wave, and they just loved Wealth Dynamics. And actually, that's the value I had, Wealth Dynamic itself, and the content was just super good. So they just trusted me, actually. And so I just had what, and next thing I did was I just set the market in Japan. I just set it and I chose it, and I just picked the best program. Genius Group has so many programs, actually, and but you just pick which one is good for your market. And I just did it, and create a path for the audience, path for the market. And I think that's what the Lord is good at too, and so that's what I did, and I just continued doing it. And definitely, Roger Genius Group has the step to grow, from yellow, orange, yellow, green. I just followed that, and I think I'm a good follower too. And so I just followed, and I just did what I can do as a Lord. That's
amazing.
Yeah.
Every good leader is a good follower. Every follower ends up becoming a leader, right? So I think that's super awesome that you've done it in that way. And I also want to I also would love you to share. First of all, before I ask you to share about the corporate side, tell everyone, what's the size of your core team? The number of people you have who are directly employed with you at the moment?
Around 15, 16, something like that. Yeah.
50 or 60 people now?
Yes.
Yeah.
15,
and then
16.
and then you said you got about 2,000 who are now part of the partner community as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
As the trainers.
Right, exactly. And so Tamami's chosen. Who did she want to have internally? Who's going to be training? She's going to have as a partner? Who's going to be training? And then the corporate side is where there's more and more companies and even government organizations who are going, we need to be more entrepreneurial. We need to know more about our teams. What are their talents? What are their passions? We need to get them motivated about basically having more meaning, especially in the Great Resignation, where everyone's like, I want to do something more meaningful, and using our tools to do it. Can you share basically how the corporate is now growing? And you were just sharing with me yesterday the whole story about the Japanese military, right? And what you're doing with them right now.
Yeah. It was 2-3 years ago, I found a great partner for corporate market. And we started it. We cultivated the corporate market, and several, very, very well-known Japanese company, they just liked us. And, step by step, last year, I didn't actually go marketing. I'm a Lord, so I don't actually go company to company or call the company, or I don't do that. I just one of the trainer, they just introduced us the Department of Defense, and in the Department of Defense, there's a recruiting department, and those people who recruit the new soldiers or the military person, they just need the training. And in Japan at this moment, there is so many harassment in the Department of Defense at this moment, moral harassment, sexual harassment, things like that. So I think they also wanted to prove they are doing something, and they picked us as a content. And we trained those 400 recruiting people in the department, and they wanted, they said we can actually announce they use Talent Dynamics for the training, and it's in the website already. I just uploaded it, and they told me they're going to repeat this year too. And we are going for the whole defense, Department of Defense.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask to bring Michelle Notting on as well, because Michelle is our head of partnerships for all of our community partners, been looking after everyone, working together with all of them as well. And just the fact that, like Tamami, you've actually done that, developed that in that way, I think is so exciting. Can we pin Michelle on as well? So she's also on. That's great. And that's like over $100,000 in just one contract, right? And so I think this is the most powerful thing about it. If you're there thinking, well, how would I do that myself? Well, as you heard, Tamami partnered with other people, right, and brought them all together. Michelle, I'd love you to share, just before we come over to Patrick, number one, just like the culture of the partners, just how much you see partners work with each other. And number two, the amount of attraction we're now getting, especially now that we've kind of gone out with this launch in terms of new people coming in wanting to be partners as well.
Perfect. Thank you so much for inviting me to speak. Hey, Patrick. Hey, Tamami. Good to see you guys. So, Roger, it's actually, I love our partners. The culture that we have an honest, we have a straightforward, trustworthy relationship. I think the partners that come on over the years, we've got to a space where something, life's sometimes not always perfect, but when we talk about it, we come to a solution together, and we've always had a combined effort to make everything that we're doing great. So when you're working together with people who have the same vision and the same ethics and the same value system as you do, it definitely makes for a community that trusts each other and builds together, and that you can have difficult conversations sometimes, but you can also have amazing conversations, So I think that builds trust over the long term. And I think it's also that our partners have known that they can always just pick up the phone and they can say something's not working, and what can we do to solve it? So that I feel has been the most amazing part, which means that every time I see them in person, it makes everything much nicer and more connected and things like that, So when I saw Tamami in Bali in October, Patrick, we'll see you soon. But, these kind of things make a big difference because it brings us together and helps us grow. With regards to, the attraction and stuff, it's amazing actually speaking to people, because I think one big thing is after COVID, everybody's missed this connection of community, and one of the things is, even through the chats on YouTube, I've been seeing there's nowhere for people to go to have this place, and they still don't know after COVID how to connect and where to be and all of that. So there's so many pods of people that actually want to do something, and I think the facilitation of how to do it and who to do it with has been super difficult, because the world has kind of got separated, and I think it's our job to bring it back together and help people know what the right steps are to take to actually bring their communities together, work together, because actually all of our partners are working together as a collaboration too. They're not in isolated pods. They all support each other. They work together. They drive things together. So that's the most powerful thing for me working within this space,
That's so fantastic. And like there's something about when you heard, like, when everyone heard Tamami talk about, there's these issues in the defense force, right? And now the same thing. It's like, okay, what's this whole idea that we get everyone collaborating together? There's like, one of the things I always say is that you can either see the fact that we're all different from each other as something in which you're going to choose to be divided by your differences. I think so much of social media is dividing people by their differences. It's like, no, I'm this person, I'm that person. There's so much hate, there's so much division, there's so much everyone pointing at each other and saying, you're wrong, I'm right. But there's a huge difference between divided by your differences versus united by your uniqueness, right? Like when you get a team together and you're all different from each other, it's not about being different, it's about being unique. Like there's something you do better than the other people. And when you're acknowledging, oh, you're actually better than that than I am. Hey, you do that, I'll do this. Right? Okay, I'm not so good at this, but don't kind of tell me I'm wrong for being bad. Just tell me I'm good for what I'm good at. And let's get someone who's actually good at that part. And it's the same thing. We are all different from each other, but just understanding that there's a whole mindset to that. The fact that I'm going to come over to Patrick now. And, Patrick's obviously Hong Kong, China. Like if there's someone in America going, well, I don't know what's going on in China. And if you don't know anyone in China, well, then of course you're never going to know. But if you actually go, hey, in my community, I got Patrick. I'm going to ask Patrick, hey, what's going on here? And then you've actually got an actual real life, like human interaction with someone where you get out of the whole media bubble and you actually realize, hey, there's human beings all around the world that all are connected, united by purpose, not united by place, and they can be anywhere in the world. And that's what we need with a remote, environment that we actually have right now around the world as well. So this goes so far beyond education, right? This is about consciousness and how do we actually collectively work together for the good of the world, right? So coming over to you, Patrick, what I would love you to share is the fact that you're already part of a training organization when you found us, and then you're like, you know what, I can bring both together, because that's another part. We're not competing with any organization, we're collaborating with all of them, and how that then led into you basically taking on the partnership for Hong Kong, China.
Okay, thanks for inviting me to brief my situation to all of you, and love to connect with any entrepreneurs within GeniusU. So I also like to thank Michelle. Michelle have been instrumental to help me to get familiar with the GeniusU products and services, and great support from Michelle to help me to utilize GeniusU to build my business for the last 6 months, something like this. I'm new to GeniusU. I joined GeniusU after a entrepreneur fast track meeting organized by Roger in end of March. And then after that meeting, I decided to join as a level 2 partner. And then by July, I decided to upgrade to level 3 partners. So it has been working for me. And for my background, I have been an entrepreneur building a consulting company in China for more than 17 years. And then for the past 6 or 7 years, I also built a coaching and training company in China. And then about 5 years ago, I converted that to a platform business. And then last year, when I come across GeniusU, I think the Flow Consultant product is really great to complement with my product offering in my coaches and trainer networks. And actually, I have quite a few products already offered to my target audience. There are many trainers and coaches in China, Hong Kong, Macau, Taiwan. And then,
Patrick, do you want to also just share like how many coaches you have right now?
Okay, I offer membership in my platform. I have paid membership about 200,000 people, and then about 5,000 are active trainers actively using my certification products to train entrepreneurs and other coaches and trainers. Yeah, and then
very good.
Yeah, and then Flow Consultant product is really great. And I think the whole system is very systematic, a lot of excellent content, so people love it. And then I have already offered the first training program, Flow Consultant certification, and it was highly regarded by my coaches and trainers in my platform.
That's so good. And so just so everyone's also aware, if you're new to the actual pathway, the reason we have level 1, level 2, level 3 is level 1 is a very easy entry level. So Flow Consultant is a level 1 where any country can go, okay, I want to have Flow Consultants that can be there to do the basic training, effectively like a teacher, right? But then you go to level 2 where people are going to start building in like high level programs because they're more advanced. And not everyone wants to be at that level. Not everyone can be that level. But if you can actually build people up where they actually have the expertise and earn their way up to that, right? And then from there, moving up as well. And even what you're sharing, which is you didn't come straight into level 3. You start basically coming level 2. And then when it's the right time, move up as well. That whole pathway is so important, right? That we all know that when we meet someone, they're on a pathway too. And if we can understand how we can support them on their pathway, starting where they should be and moving up, because the one biggest thing that basically you need to have as anything, whether it's a skier, a pilot, or a student, is confidence, right? And if you start at a level where you lose your confidence, then you're not going to keep going, right? But if you actually are able to build confidence at every level, that's what most of the education system doesn't do. It does everything to destroy the confidence of the student, right? Whereas in our case, it's the opposite. It's like we start with a confidence, that's your genius, and we actually evolve and grow it with credibility so you can build a team and then grow from there as well, which I think is super awesome. So I want to say, Patrick, thank you so much. Tamami, thank you so much as well. I'd love to talk with you more. Thank you. But we have to go to the next level because we're now at the point where we have an awards ceremony. So I want to say thanks. Thanks also, Michelle. I think, Michelle, you're staying for the awards, Michelle. Right? You are? Okay, great.
Thank you for the awards.
Brilliant. All right, so thanks, Patrick Tamami, bringing Michelle Clark on. And I'm going to drop off so that we can pin the two of you for the next section. So over to you, Michelle.
Fantastic. Thanks, Roger. Thanks, Michelle, Tamami, and Patrick as well. That was super cool. And to just see, I mean, I speak to many entrepreneurs or educators who are starting out who think they have to just go create their own product to build an education business. They don't realize that you can build a multi-million-dollar business by actually just building a community and using other people's products. So go ahead and drop into the YouTube chat for me. What was your biggest takeaway from that last session around building $1 million community business. And I'm just going to come over to the chat for a minute, Michelle, here, because I want to read these. But, you know, so many people, when Roger was asking earlier on about like what cities do you want to launch, it was so cool. We got Diane here saying she wants to be the Toronto city leader. We definitely want Toronto, Diane. So go book a call with the team for that. We got Mr. Boston here saying he wants to launch in Russia, which we'd love as well. We got Jeff here saying Atlanta, Tingly Niesel, I'm not sure I've said that correctly. Tihan maybe, Kuala Lumpur and Petaling, Malaysia. Just pick one city, right? Pick one city you want to grow, and ideally pick the city where you're living as well, so you can really be building that community. Roxanne saying London. I think a few people said London. We got Peter here. Peter, it'd be great to have you doing Pretoria. You're super good at connecting with people, so that'd be awesome. We got someone saying Buenos Aires, but not sure who that was because they're not showing up. Sal in Liverpool. Look at all these. So go ahead and do book a call with one of the team. I'll just share this page here, and you can, the team can drop the link in as well. So this is the page where you've got all the resources from today. So you can join us on the campus, you can download the slides, but most importantly here, you can book a call. So if you're thinking that you want to take a city or indeed a country, do like what Patrick or Tamami have done, go ahead and book a call. One of the Genius Igniters, you'll be chatting with them. They're in the chat as well. I'm going to have a chat with you. Could even end up on a call with Michelle or myself as well, where we're going to walk you through like, how do you actually go build your own business? And it doesn't have to be $1 million business. Some of you might just want to build a business that's making 100,000 this year as an educator or a community builder. You might say, no, I want to do $500,000. I want to do $1 million. Others like maybe Tamami are saying, look, I'm actually looking to go build a $10 million business this year. So you tell us where you want to go. We'll show you what the best route on the pathway is, what's the right level, because it's not right for everyone just to jump in at level 3. But go ahead and do that. And let us know in the chat when you booked a call as well. So I'm just going to see what people are dropping in as their greatest takeaways as well, Michelle, because it looks like they're going in here and doing this already. We've got united by uniqueness. I love that. I thought it was a really great quote, right? United by uniqueness, even though we're divided by differences. Thanks for the morning class, for inspiring, loving the connection, united by purpose, not by place, says Charles. Confidence to go and grow, says I consult. Oops, that's moving too quickly. It's so mind-blowing, aspirational, exciting, says Liz. The two Michelles together are brilliant. Oh, thanks, Peter. My biggest takeaway, I love the clear presentation of entrepreneurs' path to earning $1 million. This is great. So keep dropping those takeaways in, because we're going to come back to those. And don't forget, somebody, just for dropping into the chat today, is going to win a flow consultant, which Patrick was talking about, which is that awesome certification. So we're going to be giving that away live on the call today. But Michelle, why don't we move on to something super, super exciting now, which is our awards. Can I have a drum roll?
Do. A drum roll,
a drum roll and a song. So we ran a leaderboard in the second half of last year, specifically for our partners. So anyone who is either an affiliate or a reseller or any level of partner. And we're going to be doing that again this year. We'll show in a minute how you can be part of this year's leaderboard. But Michelle, it's time we announced our winners. And if we've got them here as well, I'd love to just get them to like at least say hello, even if they're super embarrassed that they've won or super excited. We'd love to see who's here as well.
We might have one of them here. I don't know if we have all of them here, but we might have one.
Right. Okay, yeah. So this was the leaderboard for the partners. And basically the way we do this is for the partners who are out there, either supporting the generation of the most revenue on GeniusU by bringing their community in. They can be purchasing their own products as well, and they're earning the most money as well. So this is really showing you like who are the top leaders, not only in terms of the revenue that they're generating through their clients, but what they're actually personally managing to generate for themselves as well. So there might not be some surprises on here actually when you see some of the winners. But the winners for 2022, oh, why is that not working? Look, I'm leaving everyone in suspense. Come on, click on. There we go. All right. So first of all, we got 100 people. Michelle, do you want to just explain how this bit worked? Who all won something straight away? Do you want to explain this bit?
Absolutely. So when we launched it in September, when we started the pre-launch for the Wealth Dynamics, everything new, right? We said whoever gets and registered and participates, the first 100 people that actually register on the leaderboard, we would actually give out prizes and stuff like that at the end of the competition because we could tally this, right? So that's really what happened. And the first
100 people who jumped on board and got going, basically. So well done to the first 100. So these are the people, and the winners are, now I'm not going to read all their names out because there's a lot of names there, but you might see your name on this list. This means you were one of the first 100 who came on board. And what are they going to win, Michelle?
They're going to win this like amazing Wealth Dynamics pack with all the new stuff in it. And they'll win a couple of other things in there. I can't remember from the previous slide. Sorry, my brain just dropped me. Sorry.
All right. Well, congratulations to all 100 for being the first 100 on board. And by the way, some of you could be the first 100 to be joining today as well. We're going to share how you can do that. So you could be in with a chance of winning a prize for this quarter as well. All right, come on, slide. All right, so let's get to the winners without ado. So we had 3 prizes for the leaderboard. The third place winner gets $2,000 in cash. They get some spaces to speak and present at our global summits in 2023. And they also get a couple of flow consultant places, which they can use within their community or with their own team as well. So Michelle, do you want to announce who the winner is? And we'll see if they have got them up here.
Absolutely. And the winner is Amelia. And she's one of our level 3 partners. She's actually collaborated with Henry. But yes, they're not actually, was standing in immigration when I spoke to her a bit earlier. So I don't think she's on the call today, but a really big congratulations because they're working very hard in the Indonesian market. So really ties in that building of community, you know.
And I know they're really going to be growing in 2023, both Amelia and Henry as well. They've already got big plans for growing Indonesia. So if you're in the Indonesia area, look out for the events that are going to be running in local language as well. All right, congratulations to Amelia. Let's come over to our second place is going to get $5,000 of cash. They're going to get a place on our Wealth Dynamics Masters, which is running in Bali, which is our super awesome live event, which I love, in October. And they're also going to get a couple of level 1 partnerships as well. And Michelle, do you want to announce who is our second place winner?
Yes, and this is super, super exciting, right? And the best part is that Tamami, and she's here. Yay! So Tamami, you want to turn on your video? I hope you're still here.
Congratulations.
Hi, thank you.
Tamami is on a real winning streak. You do win a lot of awards with us, Tamami, and I think this just goes to show when you're so active and building such momentum. And we just love having you as one of our partners and doing everything that you are doing to grow in Japan as well. It's so awesome to hear you getting into the corporate marketplace. Are there any quick words you would like to show of appreciation?
Oh, thank you very much. I can bring so many people to the masters this time, including me. Once again. Thank you.
Congratulations to Tamami. And our first place winner. Our first place winner is going to get $10,000 in cash, a level 2 partnership, including Crystal Circle, mentoring for the whole year, and a place at Wealth Dynamics Masters with our entire Genius group of clients. And Michelle, our first place winner is...
Our first place winner is Anne, actually.
Yay!
Wonderful and amazing. And he's collaborated with his Super X Academy team. So I'm sure someone in the team will be coming one of these places. Unfortunately, he is still sleeping, I think, because it's a bit early for him this morning. And he'll be watching the replay later. So I hope that he gets super, super excited and drops us an amazing comment. But well done to Anne and his team this year.
And so Anne has taken the Vietnamese translation, even though he's based in NASA. He has a really big community, and he's actually growing. We're going to have GeniusU in Vietnamese also this quarter launching, which is super cool. So well done to Anne and to all of our winners there. Congratulations to everybody and to all 100 who were the first in. Let's walk through what we're going to be doing to launch our 2023 leaderboard, Michelle. Now, we did have some feedback, which we've taken on board. You'll notice that all of the winners are level 3 partners. So we did get some feedback that it's like, well, those guys are like already running multi-million-dollar businesses. Of course, they're going to get more points. They're going to be doing more activities. So let's make it a little bit fairer for everyone. So Michelle, we've changed it a little bit this year. We're still going to have our overall leaderboard winner, but we've put it into categories. So you could be an affiliate or reseller, which means that you're competing against the other affiliates and resellers. Maybe you're a level 1 partner, so flow consultant or city host. You can compete against each other, level 2 and level 3. So this way, we're making it a little bit more fair. So there can be prizes within each of these categories. And let's just have a quick look at what we've got on offer. This is just for quarter 1, by the way. So we're going to be doing the leaderboard each quarter. So this means come the end of March, when we have our partner conference in April, we'll be announcing the winners. So the overall winner will win an exclusive Journey of Lights tour with Roger and our VIP clients, which we're running in November. We're going around Vietnam and Bangkok. It's going to be super, super exciting. That's a $15,000 package. And that's a kind of program that money literally can't buy. You need to be either Crystal Circle or one of our high-level impact investors to come on this. So this is a super cool prize that someone's going to win with just a group of like 40 of us. It's going to be super, super awesome. And then we've also broken down into the different categories as well, like I said. So first place winner is going to get $5,000 in cash and Journey of Lights. Second place, $2,500 and a live Wealth Dynamics Masters, and third place, $1,000 in cash and a performance consultant certification as well. And then very quickly, we've got prizes for the different categories. So if you're the top affiliate or reseller, you'll win a flow consultant. If you're the top level 1, you'll get a place on our new Genius Accelerator program, which we're launching as part of the Genius Formula. Level 2 will win Wealth Dynamics Masters, and level 3 Journey of Light. So this has made it a little bit fairer. It means everybody has the chance to be a winner. So you can join today. The team are going to drop the link in a minute to show you how you can join. And just by joining today, so if you're one of the first 100 to join, I did say there was an opportunity to win a prize, as well as giving you all a free Wealth Dynamics 5.0 pack. One of you who joins today, even if you're watching the YouTube recording, if it's still today, one of you is going to win a place on the Genius Accelerator program, where we're going to show you how to build $150,000 of revenue in this first quarter. So get yourself joined on. We're going to drop the link in for you to do that as well. It's really simple. The way that the leaderboard works, it's very easy. First of all, you just come on board and click to register. I've kind of lost my face there. Oh, stop screen sharing. That's why. What happened?
Okay.
Whoa, my slides just disappeared as well. That's weird. Okay. Give me 1 second. So I just grab, here we go. Let me just do a little escape. Okay. Tell me if you can still see my screen, please. Have we got it? Yes, there we go. All right. So first of all, click to register and join. And then all you need to do is promote all the free things in GeniusU. So the free masterclasses that we're running, get people to do the free assessments, get people to join free circles that you're interested in, join any of the competitions where we're doing giveaways as well. It's really easy. So it doesn't cost anything for people to even do that. They just get to come along and have a great experience, but this tags them to you as an affiliate. If they make any purchase during the next 12 months, they remain tagged to you. And of course, we'll add that up on the leaderboard points. And it's really easy to retag them after 12 months as well. For those of you like Tamami and Patrick, you just keep continuously sharing content and people just keep getting tagged. So Tamami's still earning commissions from people that she introduced to us like 15 years ago or something crazy. So do come along and join us, whichever level that you want to be playing at, it doesn't matter. And as an extra bonus, for everyone who joins the leaderboard and is playing in the leaderboard, we'll give you the results every week of how it's going, so you can see how you're tracking. But for everyone who joins, you'll get double commissions in quarter 1. That means you'll earn 20% instead of 10%. So do go ahead and join today. This is the little page. The team will be dropping this in. All you need to do is give us your name and your details. And that means you're automatically joined, and you'll be one of the first 100 who will get a prize straight away and possibly win a place on our GAP program as well. All right, so that it is on the board. So congratulations to everyone, well done, and best of luck to everyone who's going to be entering for Q1 as well. Just a reminder for those of you who do want to come and join us as a city leader or as a city host and help us grow, do book a call with us as well. We're going to be we've got a limited number of calls that we can take over the next couple of weeks, and we are looking for those right people to head up those communities. So with that, Michelle, we've now gone through the whole community, how to build $1 million community. Let's move on to how you build $1 million education business. So thank you, Michelle. Thank you for joining us. Congratulations to all of our winners. And I'm going to bring Roger back in now. And Roger, let's head over to building $1 million education business.
All right, let's do it. Okay, thank you very much to both Michelles, and huge congratulations to all of the winners there as well. I want to keep bringing this thing back to purpose again, right? Remember what I said at the very beginning, that there's these two big premise, right? Like number one, that like students need something very, very different from what they're getting today. And number two, that teachers deserve something very, very different as well. If you actually take the entire pie, like when we say, okay, this year, our goal is to actually make sure that at least $30 million actually gets distributed between everybody. And you can see here, with all these prizes, with the amount of money people are earning, you can imagine it's like, well, where's this money coming from? Did you know that the entire education pie, all the way from 0 to 100, is going to be at $10 trillion in size by 2030, right? So it's already, it's growing, right, by about 10% a year. Right now, it's at around about 700 billion, right? And we already know it's overcharging. People are overcharging. We know the amount of endowments that universities have is massive. And if you actually look and say, well, where's all that money going? It's going into endowments. It's going into buildings in universities. It's going to build that next hall that's named after somebody. It's it's not going to the education itself. It's such a bad system. If you actually say, what percentage of the revenue actually goes to human beings that are actually delivering, the faculty, right? The people that actually are the value, it's such a tiny percent of the entire high that each of these different universities and schools are actually charging the students or the parents, right? So what happens when we decentralize? All that money stops going into these centralized black holes, and it actually goes to the people that are actually delivering the value. This is why when we've actually seen the shift to the likes of social networks, right, that we're actually seeing all this shift that you can have creators like on YouTube that can suddenly be earning millions. And for the effort of a small team to build that, they can actually have a bigger impact than a teacher at Harvard, right? But at the same time, as you're actually seeing this like massive decentralized happening, the fact that we actually can work with each other, right? The fact that Tamami can actually earn a whole lot more money, but not having to figure out how to create the content as well, right? Or how to actually teach it herself, right? Like there's someone who actually has got, you know, a YouTube channel or a best-selling book, doesn't have to think, how do I go all around the world and teach this stuff? Because I don't need to, because there's someone else already there doing it. This is about really thinking, how do we actually collaborate in a really effective way? And I hope you can really see as well, not easy to explain what we're doing to everyone out there where they're like, what do you mean you're revolutionizing education? But I really hope that the two words education revolution is really making sense, both to those of you who are new to this, as well as those of you who've been with us for many years, that it keeps on taking better and better shape and more form. And our goal, right, is not to get that whole 10 trillion, but if we could just get 10% of that by being one of the first movers into this area, having 100 million students when every student is paying on average like $10 each, well, that's obviously $1 billion business already. But if we can basically be at a point where we can be distributing a percentage of that, right? If we ended up eventually at 10% of that 10 trillion, that's still $1 trillion business, right? And if we can be saying, right, there should be at least 30-50% of that, which isn't going into the tech, isn't going into the buildings, is actually going to the actual faculty, to the partners as well. That's a pretty big number. So that's our goal, right? And that's why it's just so important that this conference always is going to come first before we get into how we deliver to students. Every quarter, we're going to have a partner conference. We used to do it once a year. This is the first one in January. Next one's going to be in 3 months' time. We're going to keep on having them, and we're going to keep on also having our retail investor meetings every single month. So come join that as well, because all of our partners in one form or another come on board and become our investors. And as you're going to see, our level 3 partners are even getting share options, which at our share price right now is actually a super good deal in order to actually come on board too. So we're going to get to that before the end of this next hour. We're in the final hour. We're 2 hours in, final hour now. Let me jump right into what we mean when we talk about faculty. And now that you can see that the faculty have got the ability, right, to be able to build out content partners, that's all in here too. By the way, again, those of you here who need some visual stimulation, when we talk about something like Wealth Dynamics Masters, we do it online. It's like a 1-week program, but with it, we also have our resorts, right? I think we're the only edtech company that actually owns resorts as well. So we actually we just ran our Wealth Dynamics Masters, the last one. We do it virtually, where we actually go through how do you build your business plan. You end up not just with the business plan, but effectively doing almost like an American Idol for entrepreneurs, where at the end, we end up with one winner out of all the plans that show up. Everyone's in competition, but also collaboration. So super fun. And we just ran one at our Bali retreat, which we have in Indonesia. So super awesome when we run this here. We have parties, we have dress up nights. This is something that happens, once a year at the latter part of the year. We are fully digital this year. Otherwise, we'd be going back here to our other resort, which is Tao Game Lodge, with incredible safari. We have a lake which actually overlooks the safari as well. So you have 24/7 Discovery Channel in real life. Beautiful, beautiful place. And we're running more and more programs from there as well. So this year we don't have it there. I really do want to bring it back again because it's the most magical place to inspire yourself on your business as well. And you also heard Michelle talk about our Journey of Lights. I am super excited about this as well. Those of you at level 3, we'll invite you to come join us. It's happening in November. It's where we take a journey from the Festival of Water in Cambodia. Festival of Water in Cambodia is the Festival of Lights in Thailand. And we're actually going from Angkor Wat, which is the only template of like the East and West, right? It actually is bringing from India the whole Hindu culture. It then moves on to China with the whole Buddhist culture. It's one of the few temples in the world, people don't know this, that was both a Hindu temple for hundreds of years and then became a Buddhist temple. But it's also a template of the universe, right? So we actually explain how all this ancient wisdom and knowledge is now used within the systems and tools we use today. This is what it looks like, Festival of Water, right? Like there's like massive dragon boats, right? That basically have their races and have the festival. And then we move on to Thailand, where there is the Festival of Lights with the most incredible lantern display that takes place there as well. And so we are going to go through 9 days through the 9 levels of the spectrum, going through this experience. And it's all the highest level people that we're working with that we go on this with. Would love to have you on board on that as well. So if you're considering level 3, you don't have to even take level 3 right now. Maybe take level 1, level 2, and then move up to level 3 during the year. We'd love to have you come and join us on that too. So that brings me on to this third part here, which is the now education business itself. As if you wanted to set an education business, let's say, for example, in Udemy, and again, like we are very different from other edtech companies, but we're happy they're doing what they do. But in Udemy's case, you wouldn't be able to build your own faculty on there. You wouldn't be able to access all the different micro schools, communities around the world. You pretty much have to go out there and market it on your own, right? Similarly, Coursera, you can't even put anything on Coursera unless you're a university or a school, or you've got a program there as well, right? Or you got to go out and use something like Thinkific to do it yourself. But in here, you're plugging into a full community where you then have the tools, you have the elements that actually allow you to grow your own business as well. I'm going to give you 2 examples of how this works. Let me take a first example, and we're actually going to have Suraj come and join us with 2 of our faculty, level 3 faculty partners, content partners in a moment as well. But let me just take you through an example where Suraj has been working together with one of our companies last year, which is called Investment Mastery. And Investment Mastery is very much like a content partner. So if you actually go and have a look at this site here, this is Investment Mastery's site. It's actually led by Marco De Maria, and John is their CEO now, doing a really, really great job. And they basically have got a program, right, which is called My Crypto Club, Your Crypto Club. Your Crypto Club is effectively as a membership program. You're learning how to trade currencies, even in this last year when the likes of Bitcoin's been going down, Ethereum's been going down. Through his trading strategies, people have been making money through that strategy. And so basically is really getting you to understand long-term how to be thinking about cryptocurrencies and the impact they're going to have in our future as well, right? So while he has got his program, this is Marcus here, and he has got basically, they do live trading every day. They've got their Discord group. They've got all of the stuff that you would expect to have in a group where they're all supporting each other and sharing the latest information. Off the back of this, what is really, really key is they also, we have actually taken them and laid them on the Genius formula. And you're going to hear just what the results of that when Suraj comes on. But it looks like this, right? So remember when I shared with you PIN as an example of a community partner, this is an example of a faculty partner. Would take exactly the same example, with in this case, we say, right, well, who are you actually focusing at? People starting off in crypto, getting going. What are your actual courses right now? Well, they had a very different product mix to what you saw with Simon. They had masterclasses, so they didn't have anything at the entry level. The masterclasses generally were either stock market, where they were marketing directly with advertising and so on, where they would charge for people to come along for that. Or they were doing introduction sessions to partners, right? Where someone had an investment community, they would get on and have a call with them and have people come join. The problem with that is if you don't have the partners showing up to do that, you're just waiting for the new business to show up, right? Which was definitely their challenge when we started working with them. On the membership side, they had a membership similar to our membership, around $1,500. A lot of people coming in, 2,400 people coming in. That adds up pretty quickly, right? Their business doing about, when we met them, about £3,000, which is about $4,000. And then they also had their gold fast track and mentoring, similar to what you said with Simon, but at a lower price point. And so again, we analyzed, how does that look on a Genius formula, right? And we said, look, you're doing these masterclasses, but you've got to start with an Investor Genius test. We can build that test out. It brings you many, many more people that are interested in where they're at. And you then get to find out how big is their portfolio? Because they knew if they didn't have someone with a portfolio, which was at least like $10,000 in size, they're not going to be the people that are going to do the mentoring. So why even call them, right? Give them just free content, give them things that are going to help them and help them get to a point where they're at 10,000, and then give them something appropriate at that level. So we said, okay, right now, there's no, currently, I'm going to make this bigger so you can see it, right? As you can see here, it says, this analysis is so great. Like every company should have an analysis like this. So currently run only for crypto. So why were they not actually running introductions on like programs on ads? The reason they weren't doing it was because there's rules of not being able to advertise crypto education on the likes of Facebook, for example. So we said, look, build a monthly calendar of free webinars, but do it as general. Make it an investing webinar where you talk about stocks and crypto. And so then you can advertise for it, and then you can bring people in, and then they can decide which way they want to go. So that's something they introduced. Okay, the masterclass. Make the masterclass simple, easy. Do it just 4 times a year. So as I say, they're currently run only for share trading. They didn't even do it for crypto. So let's build out a calendar of quarterly masterclasses so it covers both. So they didn't really think of doing that because they were originally in trading, then they moved to crypto. It's like build a membership so you've actually got both. So the main product they already had people coming on board. It's like, right, well, keep membership, no changes, no problem to change that, but have greater inflow and greater upsells, right? So people can then do more at the high level. Advanced workshop, 2 days free, like, okay, it's effective, but infrequent upsell events. So now make it frequent, right? Like create additional high-level chargeable workshops that lead to high-level upsells. So now people can actually decide to do more. You know, there's no question if you want to double the size of your business, almost always the best way is go to your 10% of your raving fans and ask them what else can you deliver for them, because they already trust you, right? And there's very likely a problem they've got you're not solving, which they'd be willing to pay you to get solved, but you're only going to find out by actually asking them. So we said, look, there's for sure some of your top people we actually asked, how much are your top guys earning? Oh, wow, they're earning like even up to the levels of like 100 grand a month. It's like, well, then you have to have something at a high level to help those guys because they would come back for more, even if it's them just sharing with each other, right? So the next level and upgrade is like, well, this is one of the most successful programs. It's a Gold Fast Track because it's actually live trading. You actually get to see the results. Okay, increase the number of Gold Fast Tracks by increasing access by the upsell. So it's about the scale. Is it multiply? Is it magnify? Which means, is it about doing things cheaper but doing more? Or is it doing less but making it more expensive, right? So most of us are getting the wrong gear in our car, wondering why it's stalling or wondering why we're burning out. But understanding that there is a flow which tunes into it, and we're really good at finding that flow. Okay, and then the final one, like, okay, high touch, limited in number, increase the price. Like at the highest level, you can see 30,000 instead of 15,000. Now, some of these recommendations we put in place, some are still to be put in place, but you can see in total, this gives us now more like a £7 million business, right? It doubles the size of the business. If you want to double each year, you can do that. But we think, even 50% growth, the way we're doing, like, makes a lot more sense. But by sharing that and saying that's the pathway, we then build that out to say, look, let's even just start with 8,000 ad spend, not 100,000, just 8,000. If we can do that on a week by week basis, then that's going to be generating a total of already 100,000, right, in revenues that's going to come through. And then let's actually then scale that out, right, so that we actually can do that and build it as we go as well. So you can see it scaling as we go. Let me take you to another slide, which is super interesting once you actually realize how all of this actually, allows us to be able to link all of this into a much, much clearer pathway as well, where we compare. So I gave you an example of to investor. Let's compare that to what you saw earlier with what we're doing on the entrepreneur side. And I'm going to then introduce a couple more examples to you. This here is where we actually go down the analysis. Now, this is not all about numbers, but we treasure what we measure. So the more you can get detailed, where we're actually tracking all the elements. And the good news is most educators don't want to do all the heavy lifting on the tracking. But by us saying, well, we'll do that for you, right? We'll track all of this and see what's going on. We'll use our system to map it out. This is our journey builder, where we map out each step as we go as well, right? So we can build that out. We'll give you a dashboard so you can actually track this too. So you build that too. Once you actually build all those elements out, it makes it so much more powerful in terms of what you can then deliver on. And then we then compare. So for example, let me just show you these two slides, right? I mean, I love this stuff, right? I'm a bit of a geek when it comes to the numbers. But quality needs to turn into quantity, right? If you're going to scale something, you're going to know what's measurable and scale it, especially if you want to get to the $100 million mark, right? So you can see here, this is the Entrepreneur Campus. On the Entrepreneur Campus, it says here, higher cost, high conversion. We spend $3 and we get one member. We earn $30 per member. We have only 2% converting, which is absolutely fine for us. By the way, if you go to the likes of Minecraft, Roblox, multiplayer games that are also freemium, they'll have anywhere from 2 to 4% conversion, right? But some of their conversions are very low, like just someone paying maybe $100 a year or something, right? Whereas we're focusing at more of the high level conversions. But we definitely are looking at saying, how do we get this 2% to 4%, right? How do we get this $3 down to $2? How do we get this $30 to $50? And it's all about delivering better and better value and giving people better direction through our AI Genie so that people are guided into what's right for them, right? So our return on acquisition cost, where we spend $50, we get $500. So you can see here, 10 times return on acquisition cost. That's what ROAC stands for. We can say, okay, if we can put in $50, are we making $500? $150 spend, would expect we're going to get 3 customers, right? We basically then go through the ratio. Okay, we're going to have a 5 times ratio, 160 followers, 330 clicks, 33 members, 33 register. We're going to have some attendances showing up. Out of the $150, we make 12 attended, 2 people will buy. We'll then have a call. 4 will apply. We never have a call with someone just by calling them up. right? I'm so tired of banks calling me up, still trying to sell me something on the phone. Frankly, I'm tired of emails, like emailing me, telling me to buy something. I don't want to do that, right? If I'm interested in buying something, I'd rather you invite me to buy something. I'll show up, and if it's the right thing, I'll buy it. And if not, well, then I want to get value by just having showed up anyway, right? So we'll only get out of all this, maybe 4 people applying, but 2 out of 10, 1 will buy. But because we had 2 purchases here, and we had 1 purchase here, this one's much higher, then we end up with 3 purchases in total, earning $1,500. Right. And so this here, compare that to what I'm just showing you now with the Investor Campus. Here is the Investor Campus, a little bit different, right? Here, again, we can spend $3. We're still making $1,500, but it's with 1 customer, not with 3. And this is just through trial and error that we actually see this growing. And by the way, if you looked in 3 months or 6 months, what are our metrics? They'll be different from this because the world keeps changing. But we keep tracking and we keep on saying, how do we do a better job as we go? And as long as we can keep on getting from that $1 down and from that $10 a year up, right? Then we know every year, what do we need to have as our cost base? What do we need to have as our revenue base? And we'll just keep on scaling, and we'll look at who's got best practice, and we'll share that with other people in other areas as well. So I don't want to overload everyone with numbers, but I really hope that you really get that for most of us, we're not measuring what matters, right? For most of us, we're delivering value at a level which we can't scale because we never quantified it in a way that allows us to scale. We never put it into a system that allows us to scale. If you're a YouTuber, YouTube does a great job at giving you a creator studio where you can then actually use all those tools where it measures it all for you, and then you can actually act on that as well. But it still doesn't give me a way that I can just directly go and look at the best thumbnails and choose a thumbnail that's right for me, or directly go and get the best practices and then follow those myself. They're trying to do that with YouTube Creator Studio, and we're going to help them to do that more. But the great thing about what we're doing here is this is not a social network. GeniusU is not a social network. It's a learning network. We all get to learn exponentially together and be social, right? But we're not here just to chat. We're here to actually give education and at the same time educate ourselves, right? To become better versions of ourselves as well. And I don't know anywhere else where someone is actually thinking in that way to build it all together as well, which is why I think this is so, so, so important. By the way, in my blogs, one thing I want to share, especially for those of you who may be new, let me just go back for a moment to hopefully I've still got it open. I might have closed it because I'm doing the same thing as Michelle, where I'm talking and thinking at the same time. And Michelle is better at multitasking than I am. So if I actually go back to this here, which is our links, I will basically share with you that it was actually my first blog. Now that, as you heard, I'm going to be doing blogs every single week. Yeah, you see, I've already closed it, and that's great, isn't it? But in my blog, I basically have my first blog where I basically share in that blog that Genius Group, by the way, this is where our investor information is. It is a different site because it's a whole group, whereas GeniusU is our edtech platform, just in case you're wondering. But on here, if I was to go back for a moment to my profile, where I'm earning my gems, which you can see here, these are my gems. So you can be earning those as we go as well. I basically have my blogs, and my very first blog that I posted was about the final exam. And I know for every one of you that have been with me for 10 years, you probably heard my final exam story like 20, 30, 50, 100 times, right? But I keep telling it because it reminds me as well as others that we're in a race. This one here, AI versus humans, is about the final exam. It's my first video. You'll find it on my YouTube channel. I really hope that you watch it as well, because AI has taken a huge leap forward with GPT-3 chat, with DALL-E. It's just mind-blowing what it can do. What have we done with our consciousness going forward? So the final exam is a concept by one of my mentors, probably my top mentor, which is Buckminster Fuller, where he basically shares that, he shared this in the 1970s, that we are in a race. It's an exam, he says, right? Because basically we are at a point where all of the world's challenges can be solved through technology, right? Technology is a distribution mechanism. And when we say that someone's hungry or there's hunger in the world, it's not because there is hunger on its own. It's because the food that we have, which is already in abundance, there's food mountains, is not distributed effectively to the people who don't have the food. So it's a distribution issue. Similarly, education. It's not like we don't have the education out there. We have the teachers, we have the content, but there's still people out there that aren't getting the education they need. And I'm not just talking about someone in a village in India, Africa that can't access it. I'm talking about you. I'm talking about me, people who actually are inundated with information, but not with education. So we ourselves are like, hey, what do I need to do to take the next step, right? And we're not getting an easy answer to that. So it's not distributed effectively. And we meet the right person who suddenly has that information. We're like, if I just met you earlier, I would have had this sorted out. Poverty is like this, right? It's not like we haven't been printing money like crazy, but that still means that some people don't have money. because again, it's not distributed effectively to the right people in the right way. And so this is, again, something technology can actually solve. So why hasn't it solved it? Because of consciousness, because our human consciousness is not thinking in a way where we are collaborating, where we're thinking globally, that we can do this together. We're fighting each other. We're being divided by our differences. So if we actually go, wait, hang on, there's a different way to do this, and we actually then start increasing our own consciousness, we may have a chance to harness that technology. And he says the final exam, we either pass or fail. Pass is where over the next coming decades, he said this in the 1970s, remember, so we're already like 30 years into this exam. He says in the coming decades, technology is going to get so powerful, which is exactly what's happening right now with the likes of AI, robotics. It's going to get so powerful that we better accelerate our own consciousness in order that we can harness it. Because if we can do that, we can solve all the world's problems, which is why we actually keep coming back to the big global challenges that we want to be solving and doing it together. But we can also fail the exam. Failing the exam is when we don't increase our consciousness fast enough. Technology keeps on growing exponentially, and it will eventually destroy us. This is what Elon Musk, Stephen Hawking, all these guys are warning us about, because they can see this is what's happening. If you actually hear what Elon Musk says, he says, my whole focus is on increasing human consciousness, right? Like that's what he says. It's not about technology. Technology is already being harnessed, but it's like, how do we actually harness that technology so we all collectively can harness it, not just the likes of Elon. And you've seen how he's done it. He's become richest man in the world, right? We all can have a part to play with this as well. And this is what we see with GeniusU as well, is it's that place where we then can actually start learning collectively together. So I want to share that, right? Because I really hope that for all of you coming on board, we talked a lot about earnings, right? The fact, you can have $1 million business, but we're not looking for people because they want to have $1 million business, right? There's lots of other ways you can go out and make $1 million. We're doing this because we're looking for those that actually want to make a difference in the world, to raise the consciousness, and with that, to be actually passing back the knowledge or passing through you the knowledge you're getting from others, not to be a teaching teacher, which is somebody basically who's learning from the past and saying, look how much I know, because that stuff's out of date, right? None of us want to be learning from stuff out of a book, right? No, we're not looking for teaching teachers. We're looking for leading learners. Those people go, look what I learned today. Look what, like right now, what I'm doing on Twitter, 6 months ago, I didn't even know what a naked short was, right? And now what I'm doing is I'm learning every day, right? I'm like, oh, I just learned from John. I just did a video of John. Okay, I'm gonna pass it on to everyone else. Okay, now I'm learning from Jeremy. Okay, this is what I just learned, passing it on to everyone else. Okay, I'm about to learn from Wes. Let's do a live stream and let's all learn together. I'm just constantly thinking, what is it I'm learning that I would love to share and pass on to others? Let me be the educator as a leading learner, where I'm not saying I have any education in this. I'm just saying that I'm being educated and that I'm actually more focused at the future outcome of what this is going to do than the past of what I'm going to keep people to. And if we're all future focused like that, to say I'm learning these things because it allows me to go forward. Elon Musk is learning how to get rockets to Mars because he's thinking about that future as well. And we're thinking, how do we create this entire learning community that allows us to revolutionize the education system? Other people can take what works for them, be part of the revolution as well. Every one of you can be part of this too, and inspire others as we go forward as well. So I just want to kind of just add that piece in. I think it's really, really super important. If you agree with me, post a yes, would love to see it. Any other thoughts, add in there as well. I'm going to go back and look at all the chat afterwards because I, again, can't multitask that much. And so with that, let me come basically to a couple of more examples, because we're going to get into the forum now, into the chat. This here is another example, right, where we basically have taken one of the tools that we have, which is the wealth dynamics tool, which many people are taking every single day because it allows us to follow our flow in the right pathway to build our business, to build our investments as we go as well, right? And in this, we basically, I created this, like I said, 20 years ago. It's been upgraded now with all of these new people that didn't even have money 20 years ago. They're now really growing. We basically built it into a system with this whole 20th anniversary edition that came out, which is giving you more of my age as well. I'm getting on. And then we also then said, let's bring on board partners who can be our content partners that can teach this for different niches, right? So we can actually find out, what does it look like if you are coming on board, as someone who's running project management, if you're coming on board in terms of women leadership. And then again, it allows each person to follow their own pathway. So someone goes, yeah, I like wealth dynamics, but I want to actually learn about it specifically for a particular niche, right? And I'm going to give you some examples of those niches here. So Simon Zushi, I mentioned earlier, this is where we said, well, let's actually do wealth dynamics specifically for real estate investors. Some people are more introvert. They're like, well, I'm great at being able to actually find the right deals, but I'm not that good at going out and finding the funding, right? Or I'm really good at managing the property, but I'm not so good at actually renovating it, right? And so knowing there's different profiles you need in a team, so everyone can do the piece that works for them. That's what Simon's all about, right? And he's been using wealth dynamics for over a decade. We have Bea Benkova, who's going to join us in a moment, and Jan Pollack, right? They're partners, but they also are working as business partners, and they have been focusing at Baya's program that she started off many years ago through our Crystal Circle and through our community, which is GeniusU, which is the Global Institute for Evolving Women. And so that basically is all women leaders who basically are using these same tools with Wealth Dynamics. We have Joseph, who joined us more recently, but has seen his business really grow as well. And he basically has taken Talent Dynamics, which is the corporate version of Wealth Dynamics, and applied it to project management. So when we talk about something like the Genius Formula, it is a project management tool, right? So basically understanding how to build that out is really critical. And in each case, what we did was build supplementary reports. So they're still using the core IP, but you can actually go directly to the website to do the actual report for Evolutionary Woman. And you can see even the actual Wealth Dynamics square is of Evolutionary Women, not just basically a bunch of men, right? Project management is a profile report specifically for how you build a team that's going to actually allow you to get the project management done. Because I'm sure when some of you listen to what we've been talking about, you go, oh, I love those numbers. I love those metrics. Other people go, I don't even know what he's talking about, right? And someone else goes, oh, I love the idea I can have partners. Another one goes, I hate the idea of going out and speaking to people, right? So just knowing that you've got to have the right team on board. And then the fact that we then have got the drop down as people come on to do this of which is the niche report they want. And at the same time, what language you want to have it in, right? So this is all the upgrade that now we've launched. And you're all part of this upgrade as well as we go. And then people can actually go in, buy the extras. So what you've seen Tamami do, we just had a conversation with Tamami, say, hey, Tamami, now you're doing this with basically like the Defense Force in Japan. We should basically be doing like an add-on where we actually are building out how any institution or corporation can be using this in an effective way for their recruitment, right? That itself can now be a supplementary report that can be developed and then actually added in as well. So again, we are crowdsourcing and we are decentralizing how content is being created. And then it actually allows everyone to be able to add value in the way that works for them as well, which is super awesome. And these are their two programs. You can see even, like both of their organizations, GeniusU here for Baya, Shine, which is the name of Joseph's company. Each of them basically also gives their ability to build their brand off the back of our brand and then build their business off the back of it as well, right? Which is what's so awesome off the back of this too. So here's what I'd love to do. I'd love to invite to come join me right now, Baya, and Joseph, and also Suraj, right? Suraj, who has been actually working together with our Investor Campus partners as well. So let's grab them all and bring them all pinned up here. Let's start with Baya. Baya, where are you in the world right now?
Well, that's the beauty, isn't it? Currently, I'm in my homeland, Slovakia, in Bratislava. And
all right, you're close to me then, eh? Like in Poland.
We are getting to.
That's so awesome. Well, great to have you here. We also have Joseph here. Joseph, you want to tell everyone where you are right now?
In Brno, very close to Baya and close to you, Roger. Just 300 kilometers south from you.
Very awesome. Very, very cool. And then we also have Suraj here. And Suraj, you want to share with everyone where you are in the world right now?
Yeah, I'm also near all of you. In fact, southern Boston. I'm in Europe, so in Lisbon, Portugal.
Really? Okay.
So we have a very European group on this one here. And I really hope everyone really appreciates this as well. Just to let you all know, when I'm running my investor live streams and everything, I'm doing them all on US time. So they're attended by everyone in US. Right now, we've got more of this programs like this one here, which everyone is asleep in US. And now we're doing it here for Europe. As going forward, we're going to make sure that we're doing programs that actually work for people in Europe. And then obviously Asia, because Asia's in the evening right now, but also for America, where Europe's in the afternoon as well. So time zones, like, this sun keeps on moving. So we've got to keep on having different time zones. But it's really great that we actually can be here as a global community. Here's what I'd love to do. I'd love to start, Baya, with you just sharing, like how you've seen, especially because women leadership is such a massive growing area. And there's a total, I want to make this really clear for everybody, the difference of equality, where you're saying we should have 3 women and 3 men on our board, right? Which is really saying nothing about what our uniqueness is. And it's just talking about, let's just balance gender somehow, right? Versus equality in terms of treating everyone the same, where whether you're a man, whether you're a woman, you've got certain skill sets, you've got certain talents, right? And there's certain ways for you to actually be at your best, where women aren't trying to compare to men or men aren't trying to compare to women, but actually each person is a human being. I'd love you to just share why you set up GeniusU, because it's linked to this. And then now with his next evolution with Wealth Dynamics, how you've seen that evolve the way you're thinking about your global growth.
Okay, great. So I first want to share the why and how it all started, because I believe like your context is decisive, right? So me, my background is in investment banking. I left in 2007. That's when I met you. And I was at the crossroad with many women, right, around the world are thinking, I'm successful, I should be happy, and I'm not. And is this what my soul, my heart and soul for? You know, and something is missing. I'm not fulfilled. Am I really fulfilling my potential? And that's when I met you and discovered World Dynamics, and we want to journey together and asking these 3 fundamental questions that women more and more are asking now in the world. Who am I? Why am I here? And what did I come here to accomplish? What impact did I come to make to fulfill my potential? So I discovered I'm a star profile. I went and played the star game, moved up the wealth spectrum, really created my vision. And my vision is transformation of humanity through the aligned power of evolution of women. Women really reclaiming their authentic power and coming into a co-equal partnership with men and co-creating and co-leading together. And I think that's where the source of your question is really about us women, what I see more and more, reclaiming our authentic power, right? Creating our own pathway, being our heroine journey when we are responsible for who we are, what we stand for. And we really reclaim what we have been reclaiming, and then really coming to the stage, because this is the Sophia century. This is the first century of the 3rd millennium, when we really are in the race of raising consciousness, as you talk about Buckminster Fuller, and really coming into that power. So what I've seen with the women's leadership, a lot of times it was first about like owning who we truly are. And that's why I created GeniusU, because GeniusU, Global Institute for Evolution Women, is the evolutionary home for women making impact in the world. But what I also seen with the leadership is really now not only looking about leading and being successful and coming into our rights, because a lot of times it comes at our cost. We feel tired, we burned out. It's about having it all. And that's why I'm so excited about World Dynamics for Evolution Women, because it's the first profiling pathway that brings together the entrepreneurial and the evolutionary journey for us as women, that we can really have it all, can have joy and impact and love and energy and all there is. Because I think that's what the world needs. And that's what we really are moving to, be really leaders from the heart and create partnership with our Mother Earth as well. I hope I answered your question. That was my
very well. Very well said. I think that's so, what I really love about this as well is that you've now been collaborating, because this is another part of it as well, right? Everyone's like, well, where's my tribe? Where do I need to work with? And you actually started by collaborating with other programs out there. So just so everyone knows a bit of the history as well, when Bea really started, she had the idea. So some of you out there, you got an idea. It's like, well, I want to do it, but like, have I earned the right to do this yet? Have I got credibility? Are people going to like follow me? And when she had that idea, I'm like, hey, I'm already part of the Transformational Leadership Council, which is set up by Jack Canfield, John Gray. These are the guys that wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul and, you know, like Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. They were like the best-selling authors who brought all these different influences together. And then basically from there, we're like, hey, let's just meet up regularly. So I was part of that group. And then from there, they said, hey, let's actually build this out globally through ATL, which is the Association of Transformational Leaders, a bit like TED and TEDx, right? But when they did that, I was like saying to Bea, like they want to grow this and they're not yet in Europe, right? Like you should connect up with them. And Bea, you connected up with some of the most incredible, like best-selling authors, you know, top women leaders immediately, because you were adding a value to them that wasn't there before, which was being in Europe. They were adding value to you, which was that they were giving credibility at a high level. And I just want to kind of like point that out to everybody. Like, don't think you got to wait until you get to credibility before you get credibility. You know, you don't have to climb the mountain if you can parachute in, right? So just go up to the people at the high credibility, like play the same game with the same purpose. They're going to want to work with you as well. And you're doing that now as well in terms of how you want to now scale GeniusU all around the world as well. So can you just talk about that power of collaboration that kind of got you started, and now you are the one at the high level that's bringing on all these other partners?
Yes. Yeah. I think that was a very critical part, you know, of the advice that you gave me, because, you know, stars and a lot of that, when we really experience being powerful, we want to go there and make the difference in the world, and sometimes don't feel appreciated. So I had all these amazing role models in the world that I wanted to bring to me. And then you said to me, Bea, go and make yourself useful to them, right? Be a contribution to them. And that's how you will link, right? You add value to them. So always think, where is it going to add value? Someone who is aligned with your purpose, because you will create much more together. So I connected with Lynn Twist. I had the privilege to work with Barbara Max Hubbard, you know, Tim Kelly. And it was really that kind of collaboration and learning And you were also my mentor, you know that, a role model and a partner. So we are on this life journey together when we really make a difference together. So that was my opportunity to do that. And when we created GFU, this is what we're creating now as well, right? In the Global Institute for Evolutionary Women as the evolutionary home, and creating the pathway for Wealth Dynamics for evolutionary women. Because one of the things we discovered is when women are really successful on top of the game and make a huge impact, they really have a desire to connect, and they don't want to be alone. And they're looking like, where is the network and a field of women who are like me, who are living from their heart, fulfilling their purpose, live a life of joy, developing themselves on their evolution journey, that I am not on my own, but I can make more difference together. So we now starting seeing many more women coming into GFU saying, oh my God, I want to be part of this tribe. This is the home for my soul. What can I do to contribute? And how can we co-create together? How can we make more difference together? Because I think we have the desire. The biggest illusion we have is that we're disconnected. And when we come into our heart and our soul, we get that we are connected. So it's now, especially the profs who are deal makers and traders coming more and more now, because they see this is the community where they want to flourish and thrive and make more difference together.
Absolutely. Yeah. I hope everyone that's watching as well really gets that. You know, you got options, right? Because on the faculty side, you got to either say, you know what Bayer is doing, I want to do something similar in my own particular area, or I want to go work with Bayer on this, right? You could be saying, hey, maybe like there's an opportunity in my country to actually be at level 1, level 2, and actually be one of the faculty, bringing all this great content, you know, to my community. You might be in a women leaders group already where you're going, I want to bring this in here. But the other side, if you were someone like a Tamami, you know, someone like a Patrick who's actually got a country, you'd be going, all right, I'm going to basically bring this into my country, right? Because I know that's needed as well. And so this whole multidimensional way that you can actually kind of mix and match to what are the right content to go to the right places. And of course, like if Tamami then says to Bayer, okay, yeah, I want to bring this in Japan, it doesn't just help Tamami, it helps Bayer, right? Like everyone basically adds value to each other off the back of this. So I'm going to come over next to Joseph, because in your case, you already had an expertise in project management. And then you go, wait a minute, that like too much project management is grind and not flow, right? Just to be everyone really clear, there's a whole sense around the world that you've got to grind it out. No, it's not about grind. It's not about hustle. That's when you're paddling against the wave, right? Flow is when you're surfing the wave, totally different feel, right? And so you might have to do a bit of that to get on the wave. But after that, if you're not surfing, something's wrong. And that can only happen if you have a really strong team to do this in as well. So would love for you, Joseph, just to say like how you got into this, and now that you're at level 3, how this is accelerating the growth of your company right now.
Yeah. Basically, here is my story in a nutshell. Yes, how I got from a yellow level entrepreneur to a stable green level in just 1 year. Basically, Roger and the others. I joined GeniusU in January 2021, and first I educated myself, and immediately I started the GeniusU implementing Genius formula in my own company. I'm based in the Czech Republic. And it exceeded expectations. Basically, last fall, we were able to increase the turnaround of our open micro schools by 186%. And that's amazing. And that's absolutely great in a situation where our market is in a recession in Europe. Yes. And basically, what did I do? Firstly, yes, and it might be a recommendation for the others. The whole team of Shine, I have 15 people, took talent dynamic test, and we learned to use our natural energy. And secondly, education and technology. We are learning all the time online. We put about 30% of our team attention into innovation, digital marketing, and implementing new technologies. And by example, and this is one of the recommendation from GeniusU, HubSpot has been a great tool for CRM. Yes, and we have everything in Google Workspace, but we use about 20 sub-applications to coordinate and manage projects, etc. And we started to evaluate the data. And you already mentioned that it is important. And we have learned how to succeed on LinkedIn. By example, the number of connection on LinkedIn increased to 8,000 within 1 year, and that's amazing. And last part, implement everything immediately. Test it, walk step by step, like walking on a mountain and from hill to hill. The agile approach is great, and it is not necessary to have a perfect solution. And this is another recommendation for the others. Yes, just to implement, test it, and improve. Yes. And especially to build the right habit. I quickly moved from faculty level partner 1 within 1 year to faculty level 3 partner, and we connected the project management to the Society 5.0 idea. And I realized that Society 5.0 needs project management 5.0. And what is about? Everyone has their capabilities, attitudes, and personal characters. It's a magical triangle, Roger. And the use of talent and well-dynamic typology for project management is a key innovation. It completed our magic triangle, and in fall 2022, yes, last year, we have tested everything with a great success in the local market in the Czech Republic. And we are now working with the Entrepreneurs Institute team to offer our proven recipe to success at GeniusU. And finally, I will tell you the winning formula. Today's world is complex, and simplicity is the key. Simplicity is the key. You have to have a vision, goals, and plan. But I really like James Clear's book, Atomic Habits, because goals are results you want to achieve, but habits are simple, repetitive practices will get you there. Yes, that's my story.
Absolutely. And often goals are sabotaged by bad habits, right? Like where we're spending too much time on social media, or we're spending too much time procrastinating. And what I really love as well about what you're doing is that it took us we basically came up with a whole system of how do you get a team to basically get together, test and measure, find ways to basically like keep improving what they're doing in a very entrepreneurial way. And it was about 5-6 years after that this whole idea of agile came up for engineering, right? Which was very much for engineering teams to do the same thing, where it wasn't a top-down approach, it was a bottom-up approach, and where it wasn't about one Titanic that's going to crash into the iceberg. It was actually about a fleet of ships where everyone can actually maneuver and do their own thing. And we're like, hey, you know what we've actually done with Entrepreneur Dynamics is we've actually created an agile system, which is doing the same thing, is testing and measure, seeing what works, getting these trends, getting rid of the weaknesses, and doing that in a way that everyone's working collectively together. And then when the market needs to change or the product needs to change, you go do it. When you brought the two together, which is like, wow, agile engineering is what product and project managers understand, but we've got it at the leadership or at the human level. We're going to bring the two together. It's just magic, right? And it's what everyone should be doing going forward too. So what I love as well is that like our product, our curriculum on GeniusU is a combination of amazing people like yourselves that basically bring your magic to it, and we all have a chance to imprint into this as well. I think it's so amazing. In our bodies we have like a trillion cells and they all get along, and somehow we've only got 7 billion people and we don't get along. So it's like, what's going on there? And it's because basically they all are united with the same purpose, right? Which is actually to be a healthy organism that's basically preserving itself and sustaining itself. That's what this planet should be. And if we're all thinking like cells on a planet that we're working together, that's what our education system should be. So with that, I'm going to come over to Suraj, because Suraj, in your case, you've been like helping to facilitate in all these different situations. In fact, just so you all know, Suraj has been with me now for coming up to soon 2 decades, and everything we've done, the wealth dynamics, the Genius test, even the beginning of GeniusU, was there with me at the very beginning, and now basically like really working the Genius Formula as well. I'd love you to share just your experience, Suraj, of how you've seen by applying it with the first couple of test cases, like investment mastery, what the difference was in the results that we were getting.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for having me here as well. And it's so good to see all these amazing faces and partners. I wish we were able to do it in person, but nonetheless, great to be here. I think the big shift really happened when we decided as a company that can we create success stories from the clients that we have, right? Up until I think pre-2020, we were running events like Fast Forward Your Business and all these where you were sharing a lot of the knowledge. A lot of that is coming true, right? Like AI everywhere, machine learning, ChatGPT is now just taken off, but you're already talking about that like 4-5 years back. I actually just did exercise on ChatGPT, which is generate a code for a game, and it just generated an entire code for launching a TikTok game. I'm like, this is crazy, and we've been talking about it. But the difference is, like when you were talking about it, we were sharing it, it was making an impact with a lot of our clients, but a lot of them were like, how do we actually do this, right? We get it, but we are unable to actually execute it. And that's when I think post 2020, that shift came in, like, okay, we'll come in, we'll show you how we could do it. There is a formula for it. And with the Genius formula, by launching that, along with the other exercises, we saw that difference. And with Investment Mastery being like the first case study that we wanted to do last year, we generated over £1 million for them in dollars. That would be about like 1.4 or so. And that was the goal. And it exactly like a lot of the challenges that Roger also shared about the flow of Investment Mastery, like how they had set of products towards the end, but not top of the funnel, which is community building and all of that, right? So that's where we really came in, launched those things for them, used new technologies, used chatbots, which they were not even thinking of, in that it wasn't in their radar, or even how we could optimize their Facebook ads. So they were spending 3 times more than what we were spending to get the same customer. And we're like, okay, we could come in and actually do it better just by having these assessments plugged in. And they immediately saw that difference, right? So right now, the marketing spend is less than 20% of what they're actually generating. And our goal now is, now that we've done the sort of the initial step of Genius Formula and generated that $1 million, how do we scale that up with our partners here, right? Which is launching it in different languages. Now imagine if you're in Australia and you want to launch a crypto course and you're one of the community partners, you could see that $1 million sort of flow through your business just by plugging into a community without having to struggle for years trying to build that business, right? So I think that's where the goal has been.
And so that's so great. And the thing is, every year we get more powerful, we get more intelligent, we get smarter. I mean, we basically we have found a way, I believe, of creating exponential growth in collaboration and consciousness, because we now can share all of the things that work best, okay? And we can also basically then share what doesn't work, right? Or what used to work but no longer works. And we can see it in real time. Because even today, a lot of people are teaching the best marketing tools and marketing steps. They're teaching stuff that they put together 5 years ago, which worked fine 5 years ago, but the world has moved on and people go, well, am I meant to do that now? And it just doesn't work in the same way anymore, right? So this is one of the most important thing. Like we actually say within Genius Group, your job is to work your way out of your job. It's like, you know, how do you actually, whatever you're doing, have other people do that, which means you've got to keep on teaching, which means every entrepreneur is an educator. We have to all be teaching and passing it on. And most of us, we haven't found an effective way to do that, which is what this is all about. So I want to say a big acknowledgement to Bayer, to Joseph, to Suraj for just all the good work you're doing. And for everyone who becomes one of our partners, you get to benefit from all of their good stuff as well, because we're all having a collaboration mentality where we're sharing all our best work with each other as well. Thanks a lot, guys. Really appreciate it. And I'm going to be coming back to Michelle and Michelle, both Michelles. If you'd like to come back, join me. And we are, I believe, already into our final 10 minutes here. So Michelle Clark, first of all, you've been watching the chat. You've been kind of experiencing how fast 3 hours can go. What's your take on our partner conference that we've had today?
I love it. I think like it's so cool to have our partners here sharing their stories. And, you know, some partners like Bayer, who's been around since the beginning of time in 2007, like Tamami, who I remember flying to Japan to actually train her to use talent dynamics. And then Joseph, who just joined us like literally, and Patrick last year. Like, it's so cool to just see them and have these stories and to see the chat, like see how excited everyone else is getting about what could be possible for them in this next 12 months as well. Very cool.
That's awesome. Very cool. And Michelle N., what's it been like for you?
You know, I think, Roger, these partner conferences are always amazing because we get to bring our partners into one space and we actually get to share with community who doesn't know us how amazing this little nutshell is. And I think that's always for me the biggest thing, and how much they contribute, how much they step up, how much they want to make a difference, and how we can be that platform that facilitates that. So I think for me, that's what this is about every single time we do it, which is very cool.
That's fantastic. That's very cool. We're going to spend the last 10 minutes on two actions, a small action, big action, right? Basically, like we have the saying, show up, step up, give back, right? So the small action is show up, like just decide when you're going to show up next. I've got my blogs every week, as you know. I'm posting every day on Twitter, where you're going to show up on social media, so you're actually part of that flow and stay part of that flow. We have our next gem call, which is basically when we come to do our mastermind, happening in February. So you're going to show up for that. And at the same time, we have our investor call also coming in February. So basically just kind of make a note, where are you going to be showing up within the campus and getting going, right? The step up and give back, that's the actual big action. It's like, okay, well, you're probably at some level right now, whether it's as a student, whether it's at level 1, level 2, level 3 partner, do you want to step up next level, right? Given that we're actually doing that right now, we're having the calls over the next 2 weeks as we bring people on board into each of these different areas, and then we're launching with our actual training across the board as well. We welcome those who are new, those who are veteran in here as well. I'm going to share with you basically like these different steps here that you can take, right? Because there's different options. The first thing is just know all these options, you don't have to decide right now. You have to decide, do I think I want to take one of them? Because if you do, then just basically take a screenshot of this here. And by the way, just let me say that while we have some people watching this live, I know a lot more people will be watching the recording, right? So if you're watching this on recording, it's not too late, right? Like take a shot of it, see what's available in terms of a booking with our team. And then also at the same time, you can be writing notes in the comments, because even though the live stream finishes and we capture those comments, there's still comments underneath the video as well, right? So we'll be coming back, checking on those comments as well, and capturing any interest and where there's any potential partnerships as well. So what is it that we're going to do in the call, right? Well, the call is going to be about, 20, 30 minutes or so. It gives us a chance to know who you are, what your ambitions are, where you think you might be your best fit, and ask your questions, we'll answer them, and where we think your best fit is as well, right? Maybe you're a superstar already. Maybe you already have got a following of 1 million or more people, and you think, you know what, I want to plug this into an actual process. You could be a company that wants to actually come on board as one of our company partners as well. But what we're really focusing at right now is basically our level 1, 2, and 3 leaders in the community side, which means that you're either going all the way up to country leader, as we mentioned already. And as you can see here, we already showed which were the country leaders. So could you imagine yourself being a country leader, and could you see yourself actually, as a result of having that country, bring on board a team? We want to say this as well. You might love the idea of doing this, but you don't want to put the work in yourself because you've already got a busy business, right? That's okay. Have a call with us anyway, because we may have people that we can connect you with who'd be willing to run it, right? But basically doesn't have the ability to own it, right? So there's always a way to come on board and really be part of this. And once you've got it for a year. And with that license and with that year, if halfway through the year, you decide to transfer it to someone else, we'll still extend and honor that full year so they get the full training to get started as well. But what we're most important is that we have someone on the ground that we can actually have as part of our community right now as well, right? So actually, as a country leader, this is like the level 3. You decide to join which one you want. We work out with you how to generate the revenue, and we help you put the plan together. And then we basically then allow you to increase that by bringing on board the right city leaders. In America, because it's such a big country, we actually have state leaders that we're building as well. And you can see here where it's already taken. Like I said, most of APAC is already taken. In other areas, like in EMEA, we have got a lot of these different countries where we're now in conversation, because we just started these conversations 2 weeks ago with a select number of people, especially the ones in Asia. We're now opening those conversations up to all the people in each of these areas that we think we have someone that's the right candidate. So now's the time, right? Like, by the end of this quarter, I believe we're going to be already well into supporting and growing with that community that comes on board in the coming month. And then this here is the second part, which is the content partners, which is the faculty. Could you imagine yourself coming on board and being part of our content partnership? Here's examples of our different content partners in different areas. And here basically is the same steps of coming on board and building out your content. Could you do both? Both regional and also content? You could, but we recommend you focus at one, and then you can then apply it all to the other parts. We've already got leadership, vision women, project management, branding already taken, fundraising also already taken. These other areas are already opening up, real estate investing obviously taken as well, right? And obviously some of them investment mastery is an obvious candidate for cryptocurrency, but we're in those conversations right now to make sure we have the right people on board in all these areas. You might have an area outside of this, or you might have a country outside of this. Like I said, we go with where the momentum is because we want to support and make sure that we are giving our attention to where there is the interest, right? So don't think just because your niche isn't on here, it may not be of value. Contact us and basically say, here's what I'm interested in. And then basically we can then tell you if that is a good fit for us. There are all these different niches that we have as possibilities and many more as well. Do know that this is all recorded, so you can come back and actually just pause on any of these slides to see which one might be right for you as well. And these pathways, you might say, I'm not ready for a country, but I'm interested in the level 1. I like the idea of flow consultant, or I like the idea of a city host. Then at any one of these levels, have a call anyway, right? We want to really put the time in to support each of you as well. Just in terms of the different levels that we have, I'd love it if Michelle, I don't mind, if you want to just kind of summarize what we have at each level in terms of what the opportunity is, and then also, what the extra bonuses are that we have as well.
Sure, of course. I think I just by default got given that. So really at the level 1 side, it's about the planning of your business, right? So putting your suites of products together, planning what your promos are, actually using talent and wealth dynamics in this space if it suits with your particular business. Also, that you can partner with local faculty and community in your space so that you can grow, because it's the starting point, it's the foundations really in this. So moving to the next slide, it really is your Flow Consultant certification, where you receive wealth or talent dynamics tokens, which is 36 of them throughout the year. And you get access to this amazing portal where you can manage who you give it to, what their results are. We teach you how to do a debrief. We've also added in, Roger, which is an amazing thing for this quarter, is just the Genius Accelerator program, which is the step 1, which is really out of, that plan, build, grow, the planning stage, which helps everybody really solidify that, which is a call once a week for 12 weeks. Which is actually an exceptional bonus in this. Then our Metaversity, where they get calls with you every month. And then they're able to actually use our platform for their business with circles and all the new things that Saranjeet spoke about earlier. So this is really, in a nutshell, what the membership is. And it's just $1,500 a year, right? So I think that's pretty neat in that space. Michelle, do you want to jump to this one? Because my voice is sounding a bit croaky. I'm so sorry, guys.
I can, yeah. So level 2, whether you choose to come on as one of our senior educators, or whether you choose to own a city and grow that community within the city. So we definitely feature you within either the Entrepreneur Campus or the Investor Campus, whichever one you're coming in at. And so you get your content featured as well. And you get to put your own curriculum together. You get to grow your curriculum with us, which means that your students can earn GEM credits as well. Which is very, very cool. We'll see your whole suite of products across GeniusU. We'll set your store up. We'll make sure you've got a dashboard where you can track and see. What's really cool about the dashboard is most people can kind of go, oh, this person, came on board and joined my email group. It's like, no, what you get to see is what is somebody's genius, what is somebody's wealth dynamics profile type, what is the size of their business, where are they based. We give you so much intelligent data about all these people because we're tracking this through GeniusU as well. So you get so much more data, which allows you to make much more personalized approaches. You get to lead your own circle. We'll actually be inviting the people who are already in your city to come and join your circle as well, which is really cool if you're a city leader. You get to put your masterclasses and webinars on. I mean, we've got some level 2 partners. We've got Libby right now, who is running regular masterclasses with us. Libby went from pretty much 0 to 100K in under 12 months. Just because she was actually just following this process as a level 2 partner as well. And of course, you get to collaborate then with the community leaders or the faculty at level 2, level 3 as well, which really helps you to grow your business very quickly. Lots of bonuses in here too.
Yeah, there's a massive thing. So I don't think we need to go
through them all. No, I'm just going to say this is the same as level 1, but the real key things that I want to pick out here is that you get the crystal circle. So you get the monthly mentoring, which means that we're actually making sure that you have a really clear plan in place, that we're there every month to be holding your hand, making sure that you're staying on track, that you've got your team charter in place, you've got your promotion plans in place. And you get 500 tokens, which is a significant amount of tokens, either wealth dynamics or talent dynamics young people, so that you can actually be growing your own database as well. And we'll customize your page like you saw earlier for Joseph and Bayer as well, and quite a few other things. But so 15K at this level, and you should be earning anything in the region from 150 up to $500,000 really at this level.
And again, one thing I want to say is that if any of you look at something like, oh, $15,000, that's a lot for, being a certified trainer or running a city leader. Just remember, this is all the way through the year. So it's just over $1,000 a month that you're basically paying for the full system and all the support and all the training to be making more like $10,000 a month, right? And so basically it's from our side, a way for us to be able to make sure we can support you and do it in a way that you can really, 10x the results that you're getting and support the entire global movement, right? And this final one is obviously what we've really been talking about as for most of this is the pinnacle of this is that you become that content partner, become that country leader. Some of you might want to leapfrog the first 2 steps and go say to the third one. We don't recommend that if you haven't done things with us before, but we'll have that conversation with you. And who was the winner overall, that's what he did. He said, okay, how quickly can I go through all 3 levels so that I can actually represent the Vietnamese community, right? And then really built out from that to a multi-million-dollar business. But basically this is where we actually now work with you and bring your content in or bring your languages in. Or if you happen to be in a country like Singapore or India, where the language is actually English, you're actually still having that community globally and being able to scale it out, and then learning from all the other country leaders as well. So it gives you a total global mindset. And I probably think you all got already that everyone's already an entrepreneur that has their other companies going. And then this becomes a supplemental thing on top, which then helps all the other companies as well. This year, again, I'm not going to go through all the different elements because they're very similar, but the one you can see is highlighted there already is $5,000 of share options. Obviously, our share price has been pushed so far down compared to where it should be. The upside of that is pretty dramatic. Even if we just go back to where we are meant to be from the point of view of like what the analysts say, you can see that's a big multiplier from basically where it is right now on that $5,000 of share options. But that all comes on board when you come and join us. And then we work with you all the way through the year, just like you've been hearing with everyone that's come on and shared with us right now as well, which is super, super exciting. Plus there's me, right? They've put a slide in just of me and my mentoring. I'm pretty much focusing all my mentoring this year, whereas before it was very much on companies of all kind of like higher levels. I was working with many companies of $5 million plus. I'm now putting all my focus this year on our partners, right? Because it's such a big year for the growth of our partners right now. So that's where I'm going to be really focusing. And I know many of you I've been mentoring over time. Looking forward to seeing how we can now, really work together as we kind of build out the next levels we go to. So the actions, like I said, is basically like,
Oh, Roger disappeared right at the action steps.
Only usual, right? Roger, you dropped off.
Write it. Let's take action. Go back.
Okay, let's take action. Yeah, exactly. All right. Okay, it's Big Brother again. So I was saying, like in terms of action, you've either got this book or call, right, that you can do. But is there a link that we have as well that we can just drop in the chat?
So the problem, we've been trying to drop links all the time in the YouTube channel, and that's why we've been having problems with that. So we'll give you the links to drop, Roger, because I think maybe because it's your channel, it works better. But that's why we put together the code there really quickly so that people can just scan that and book a call with us. And what we'll do as well, because we know that we haven't been able to share the links for things like I said, joining the partner leaderboard and so on and so forth, we'll get an email out to everyone with all the links so that you can still join in those competitions as well. But yeah, good, Roger.
I did another thing as well. If you just put the links together, drop them to me or to Scratch, and we can update the actual description of the YouTube video. So that means as soon as we're finished, just come back to the video and the links are going to be on there. That makes it very, very easy for everybody as well, right? Okay, that's awesome. Okay, final words. Michelle Nolting, final words for you to all of our partners all around the world.
I just want to say thank you for partnering with us. We love working with you. And this year is the how-to year. We're going to take you guys and your businesses completely to the next level. I'm super excited, and always thank you for showing up and being part of this.
Awesome. Everyone, please, in the comments, send love to both Michelle's and also to all of our speakers today. Also in the chat, please do post whatever's been your biggest learning, biggest takeaway from just being here and investing 3 hours of your time with us. Really appreciate it. Michelle Clark, let's come over to you for your final words.
Okay. Well, look, we are super committed to this education movement, and we're super committed to leading it and creating an entire revolution in the education system. It's so cool to have so many partners already on this journey who've been with us for a long time, who've been with us a short time, but who actually believe in the mission and believe in the education revolution with us. We'd love it if you wanted to come join us and do that too. If you feel compelled, if you've seen something today that has excited you, book a call with one of us. Let's talk about the best way to do that. And regardless, if you're not ready to book a call, stay connected. Like, make sure you show up to our next masterclass or our next event. Stay connected with this group of leading learners, and we'd like to be learning from you as well. And thanks for everyone's time.
Thank you, Michelle. And my final words to everybody is, this has been an amazing journey. We are already a decade into it. We've only just begun. And if there's one thing that you can basically bet on us, is that we're always going to be here. We're going to keep on growing things. We're going to keep on having bigger challenges. We're going to have bigger fights, but we're also going to have bigger successes every single year. And every year, we're going to have more and more coming and joining this education revolution. So keep fighting, keep shining, keep connecting with each other, and looking forward to seeing you on our coming course. Look out for the press releases coming out today, and have a fabulous day. Thanks very much, everyone. See you all later.
Ciao.